single. They've done enough. It's the Eagles. Vitality Blast 2019 Champions.
There's been a lot of talk about Future's era, Fletcher's era. Now we've won Division 1, we can say that, you know, we're actually starting to build our own era.
And that is the moment they have decided to shake hands. And the county championship is on its way back to Chelmsford.
We're live from the Cloudfm County Ground here in Chelmsford for Essex Eagles against the Kent Spitfires. Good evening, everybody. Well, what a week it's been. Who would have thought 5 days ago Essex were being humped for 236 runs. That's nearly 12 runs and over. And then a trip to the Oval, and we skittled our hosts for 118 to win with 4.3 overs to spare. And then, well, that loony Lords event last night. Have you got over it yet? It was quite special. I'm sure we'll be discussing that later on with our guest this evening, Mr. Graham Gooch. Now, it's been a very, very interesting week to see how the T20 is going. Let's see how the coin toss has gone for this one. So the Eagles are going to bowl, and I'm joined by Spitfires captain Daniel Bell-Drummond. Dan, great to have you back here at Chelmsford. Welcome back. You're going to have a bat. What do you think?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Obviously, a few days ago, had a good performance against Essex at home, so we're looking forward to much of the same. But obviously, Essex have won 2 since then, and they're a very good team, so we're going to have to be on top form.
Does that game at Canterbury play into the psyche of either side tonight, do you think?
We'll try and use it as confidence, but no, it's a new day, new game, new venue, so we'll make sure we start as best as we can and try and get another win.
And team news for the Spitfires?
Same team as last few games, so Adam Milne's not in yet.
Okay. Well, go well tonight. Not too well, we hope, of course, as Eagles fans, but great to see you back
Thank
here.
you very
Have
much.
a good evening.
Thank you, cheers.
Ask Simon Harmer if he can come and join us. Well, you won the toss again, Skip. It's ongoing. You're going to have a bowl. What was you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's a new wicket, so if there's going to be anything in it, it'll be in the first innings, and we've been chasing quite nicely, so we back ourselves to chase whatever they post.
After last night, I mean, I said to Dan Lawrence earlier, I don't think palpitations have gone down in most Eagles fans. That was a most bizarre finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. We did so well to get ourselves into that position, close to being a perfect run chase if we had just finished it off, but yeah, we made it good entertainment value and took it to the last ball, which luckily it went our way. I think when you get yourselves into a situation like that, needing 4 off the last ball, it can go either way. But yeah, we got the rub of the green. It's about time. I think start of the tournament things didn't really go our way, but they're starting to, so hopefully we can sort of capitalise on that and keep going.
And seriously, Army, I mean, the psychological boost that 2 back-to-back wins have had for the Eagles is huge right now in the middle of this campaign.
Yeah, I think as with any sports team, momentum is huge. And just to give the players the confidence walking out there that they know that they've got some good performances behind them, I think it goes a long way. The boys are starting to play nicely. Jimmy Neesham's been unbelievable for us, and guys like Dan Lawrence coming back into the fold, youngsters like Will Battleman doing what he's been doing, and Michael Pepper. So an exciting group of players. We sort of have been good in patches, but we're starting to find a bit of consistency, and hopefully we can do that again tonight.
Stupid question in the evening. Any team changes?
No, same team as last night.
Well, go well. We look forward to the Eagles flying high once again. Thank you, Simon.
Cheers.
Well, Simon Harmer mentioned Dan Lawrence there, and earlier on this evening I had a chance to catch up with the England batsman, particularly talking about the crazy events at Lord's last night. Well, Dan, most of the Essex followers were really struggling to get the palpitations out of their system last night. How long did it actually take you for your heart rate to level back after that incredible Lord's finish?
Yeah, it was a very interesting game actually. A game that we felt like we had under control right to the last couple of overs, but I suppose it wouldn't be the Essex way if it wasn't a bit nervy at the end. No, it was an amazing feeling to get the 4 off the last ball, and it was a much needed victory.
Yeah, when you and Jimmy Neesham were out there and it all seemed under control, and then what was it, 5 wickets in 10 balls, and suddenly we're thinking, where are the Eagles going with this? What was the chat actually in the changing room? Was everybody sticking in their seats, not moving, just hoping?
I was still frustrated that I got out, so I was just sort of in the corner, stropping away and watching in the corner. Yeah, I think everyone was remaining fairly calm, to be honest, although there was a bit of chaos going on around us. There's not much you can do when you're sitting and watching, so yeah, we were just sort of all crossing our fingers and hoping Harmy could hit the last ball for four, and thankfully he did.
Yeah, Captain Fantastic does it again. 2 wins back to back doesn't maybe sound a lot, but in the context of this week and indeed this campaign, it's huge, because you think back, 5-6 days to that Canterbury match when everything seemed to fall away. How much psychologically has that made a difference to the group?
Yeah, massively. I think in this sort of competition where you play so many games, you do go through periods where you might struggle. But knowing us as a side, when we do actually get on a roll of wins, we can be really hard to stop and very dangerous. So we know we have, I think it's 3 more 2020s before a break, and all at home. And we're going to try our utmost to win all 3 of them. And if we do that, then we're right in the mix in this group.
And tonight's, of course, is Kent. Does that game at Canterbury play into the psyche at all from either side, I suppose?
I think we've got a bit of a score to settle, actually. I think it's fair to say that we got well and truly beat at Canterbury, and we were nowhere near our best. So yeah, it would be nice to sort of get one over them and get a much needed win again tonight.
You're back at the Cloudfm County Ground for the first time since your international travails. You've obviously hit the ground running. I mean, you've got a strike rate over 150 for the Eagles now. You have the best economy for a bowler as well. You feel buoyant in the way that you're playing cricket?
I'm just trying to enjoy it as much as I can. I love playing for Essex, and it's been really nice, relaxed environment. We haven't got 2 up if we've won, and we haven't got 2 down if we've lost. We understand in this format of the game, things can swing quickly, and if we do get on a roll, that we can start winning. And if I can contribute towards that as much as possible, then that's all I'm trying to achieve.
Well, it's great to see you back here in the Eagles colours with a smile on your face, and let's hope you're smiling still come 10 o'clock this evening. Thanks for your time, Dan.
Brilliant, thank you.
So, welcome back to the Cloudfm County Ground. I'm joined once again, I'm delighted to say, by Essex and England legend, Mr. Graham Gooch. Graham, before we start talking about this game, it's kind of apt that there was some news today that came out of your trust about a Kent bowler, Alan Eggleston, who we know has been having a few troubles. Can you give us a bit more information on that?
Yes, Alan Eggleston was diagnosed with a brain tumour some 20 odd years ago, and he's lived with that ever since, and just recently he's had 2 strokes, so he's been in a really bad way. Lives now up in West Yorkshire, Keighley I think he lives, and the PCA Trust, the Professional Cricketers Trust, did a 5k challenge to try and raise some money to make his life easier with some equipment, and we were very fortunate to be in a position, the Graham Gooch Scholarship and the Essex Cricket Foundation here, to help his cause. So we donated some money, and we bought his mobility chair and stair lift for him to make his life easier. So we were very pleased to do that, to support the cricket family. Alan Eggleston is a player I know well. He played 1 test match for England against against Australia in 1989. I played in that test, and of course, as you know, Essex-Kent is the big rivalry in this part of the world. When I was brought up in the 70s, when Kent was a really strong side under Mike Denness, with Alan Knott, Derek Underwood, Alan Elam, Asif Iqbal, such a great side, Brian Luckhurst, John Shepherd, Brian Luckhurst, they were winning everything. So they used to give us a bit of a kicking a few times. We got our own back a bit later. So I had many great tussles against Alan, and it's not good to see past cricketers in our family fall on hard times and has been very ill. So we at the Essex Cricket Foundation were delighted to be able to help his needs.
Well, important news, and I'm sure you join us in wishing Alan and his family all the best for the future. Now, just a quick word on this game. The Battle of the Bridge, as you've said, Essex 5 days ago was skittled by the Spitfires. Since then, it's been a long 5 days, hasn't it? And that win at Lord's last night. Are the Eagles in a good place right now?
I think they're in a very good place. It might not have been quite the same if that last ball hadn't gone their way at the headquarters last night when they had the game for the winning. They would have thought that, we've thrown this game away, having done all the hard work. But, things like T20 cricket, we watch it all the time. We're excited by it. We love watching it, and it's been a very successful format for, some 18 years now. But the game changes around so quickly. A couple of wins, the momentum goes your way. If I think back to 2019, we were not, the Eagles were not special in the qualifying tournament, scraped into the sort of knockout stage, and then started to play brilliant cricket, and then ended up winning the competition. So you've always got to believe, I think. And Essex, convincingly beat Surrey, low-scoring game, and last night was a great advert for Vitality Blast Cricket. Went to the last ball and just said to Simon Harmer there, you didn't want to middle it really on the leg side where all the fielders was. The edge is the best bet there, and they took the game. So exciting, came out on the right result, so they will be confident tonight.
Well, we'll be talking to Graham about the two team selections in just a moment. But first, after these ads, we're going to introduce you to a new member of the Essex family. Well, we're delighted to welcome a new member of the Essex family. Tees have come on board as a club partner and have been really involved with the ground immediately with the Tees River Gate. Have a look at this video for a little more information. So 10 minutes to go until we get things underway here at the Cloudfm County Ground. Time to take a look at the two team lineups, beginning with our visitors this evening, the Kent Spitfires. Our thanks to Rickard Luckin for the team sheets. First up, number 23, Daniel Bell-Drummond, the captain. Wearing 16, England batsman Zach Crawley. At 6, another England batsman, that's Joe Denley. Wearing 34, Jack Leaning. At 22, it's Jordan Cox. Wearing 10, Alex Blake. At 3, he's still here, Darren Stevens. Wearing 9, it's Grant Stewart. Wearing 11, Case Ahmed. And number 8 is Matt Milnes. 18, Fred Klaassen. Well, we know what this batting lineup is about with the Spitfires, Graham. We saw it last Sunday, right?
Yeah, I mean, they got off to a great opening partnership with the captain, Daniel Bell-Drummond, leading the way, and that set the whole game up. And they've got a strong side. If you look at Blake, you know, he's a T20 specialist. Joe Denley plays in all formats. He's been playing for England up until very recently. Also in all formats, bowls his leg spin as well. Yep. And, you know, he's a threat with that leg spin. So, you know, they gave the Essex Eagles a good kicking down at the St Lawrence Ground at Canterbury, winning by that margin. I can't remember the exact score. They got 230 odd, I think it was. Yeah, so it's a massive score really, and puts you under pressure from ball one.
Does that play into the psyche today, do you think, in either side? No, but Essex will know they need to get off to a good start and peg them back, because as we know in this game, we say it every week, you know, taking wickets disrupts the flow of the runs, because, you know, T20 players do not stop playing shots. They go for their shots. So if you take wickets, makes them think, just puts them back in their tracks a little bit. But, you know, if they get off to a good start like that, and they've had success here before, you know, Kent Spitfires in T20 cricket, so they'll be confident. I like Daniel Bell-Drummond. I did a bit of coaching with him when I was working for England, and he was a young, I think, captain of the England under-19s. I'm not sure he was captain. Yeah. He came down to one of the test matches and we worked together. Seems a very nice lad, and look forward to you know, him having success. Maybe not tonight as an Essex Eagle, but success in his career. And of course they've got Fred Klaassen as well. I think he's one of the top wicket takers in T20 cricket. Yeah. Well, let's have a look at the home lineup. Here is your Essex Eagles this evening. So the Rickard Luckin team sheet begins with the wicketkeeper, number 31, Adam Wheater. Number 9, Will Buttleman. Wearing 28, he's back, Dan Lawrence. 19, Michael Pepper. Wearing 50, the Kiwi, Jimmy Neesham. Wearing 27, Ryan Tenderscarter. At 22, it's Paul Walter. Wearing 11, the skip, Simon Harmer. Wearing 24, Aaron Nijar. At 44, it's Jamie Porter. And 16, Sam Cook. So, as expected, an unchanged lineup from that Lord's bizarre chaos that went on last night. One player, though, I'd like your thoughts on. Another opening Essex batsman, Will Buttleman. What have you made of him?
Well, I think he's made a good impression so far. You know, he's got 1 half century, and, you know, I, as an old player, keep bleating on about, you know, to make a difference in T20 cricket as a batter, you've got to, you know, deliver scores between 50 and 100. That's what you can play around. We saw that when, you know, Kent got that big score at the St Lawrence Ground. So if you get 1/2 players who get between 50 and 100, there's a fair chance you're going to get near 200. He started off well. He's got runs in most of the matches. What he's got to do is, you know, work out his game and go on and get more than maybe 50 or 40 and go on and really influence the game with a 60 or 70. But he's got a lot of confidence. You can see that. He's not scared of whoever the bowlers are. He's not scared to express himself with the bat and play, you know, the whole range of modern T20 shots, you know, with conventional shots over the fielder's head when it's in the power play, the little flicks over fine leg, all those sort of shots that the players play that, you know, us Oldens we'd have stuck to the traditional game. But yeah, he's exciting and he's made a good impression. I think the good thing for the Essex Eagles and for Essex cricket is he's made a statement that he's ready to be considered possibly for all types of cricket.
Sure, well, we shall see what happens. Just after this advert break, we'll hear from Graham in between innings, but join us in just a moment for the Essex Eagles against the Kent Spitfires. So here we go. Essex Eagles opening up with Sam Cook from the Hayes Close End. I'm delighted to be joined by cricket journalist and podcaster Dan Whiting. Dan, welcome to the Cloudfm County Ground. I gather you were at Lord's last night. Have you recovered?
Oh, just about, certainly have. It's if we're in for anything like that sort of game tonight, we are in for a treat, aren't we?
Cook into Bell Drummond, and Bell Drummond, well, he likes the Essex attack. We've seen so much of him here and indeed at Canterbury, and of course had that terrific innings of 88 last Sunday. And this partnership between Zach Crawley and Bell Drummond will set the table. It stands to reason, but we've seen it so often in these encounters in the Battle of the Bridge. The opening partnership is so important to the outcome of the game, as it's turned out.
Indeed.
Crawley advancing down the wicket, and Paul Walter just didn't time his jump there, went straight through his hands. Well, that is a big let-off for the England batsman.
That could be crucial, couldn't it? That could be crucial early wicket there. That's exactly what you want, and if it was going to pick anyone out, Paul Walter would have been the man, being 6'7" or whatever he is, and it was just out of his reach.
Yeah, batsman of 6'6", getting it through a fielder of 6'7". Crawley, if you remember, had a let-off at Canterbury, I seem to remember, and they're really rubbing salt into that particular Essex wound. I think it was a stumping. I think Adam Wheaton missed him in that first over. And indeed, this is interesting because in previous T20 campaigns, we've always been used to Aaron Najjar opening the bowling as that left-arm spin, and this is the first time I can remember for a long time, certainly this season, where Sam Cook has got first dibs on it.
Yeah, Simon Harmer's had a very good week with the coin, hasn't he? They've won the toss 3 times and inserted 3 times, and I think Nijjar's taken the first over as well, hasn't he? So, yeah, it's interesting to see that they've gone with Sam Cook.
Well, of course, the ball having to be cleaned, as is the nature, of course, these days. Our umpires, Rob White, and that was Rob Bailey up at the Hayes Close End. So Crawley gets a life, gets a 4. What's going to happen now?
He's just worked that down to fine leg, and he could be on for 4 more. No, diving stop there.
Good, Michael Pepper, I think, really getting out the full dive there to stop that one.
Great bit of work, kept them down to 2. Daniel Bell Drummond's had a better year in white ball cricket, hasn't he, than in red ball. He struggled a little bit in red ball cricket, and he's been dropped from opening. They've gone with Jordan Cox and Ollie Robinson in red ball cricket a little bit. So, It'll be interesting to see how he gets on.
Yeah, over 200 runs already, the Kent stand-in skipper. Cook gets one through Crawley's defences. They're going to quickly get through for a single. A leg bye is given. So first over is done. 10 on the board. 11 on the board, I beg pardon.
Always good to get one of your power play overs out of the way, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a particular way and style that captains cope with the 6 over power play, isn't there? And it's, if you can keep below 10 and over, then you know you've done, generally that seems to be the standard, isn't it?
Yeah, I think both sides were on about 55 and 58 last night, weren't they, at Lords? But very different circumstances here, isn't it?
Well, here is the aforementioned left-arm spinner for the Eagles. Najjar coming on from the river end. Up against Crawley with that long reach. It's going to be a challenge because he gets on the drive so easily.
He's a big man, isn't he? Big reach and gets forward, and he's very hard to bowl at. It's beautifully bowled.
Beautifully bowled from Najjar.
I was watching him warm up here, and he's got a lovely loop. He gets it above the eye line. He's a proper old school spinner, isn't he? Doesn't bowl flat.
It's the confidence, I think, Dan, isn't it? Just to get that loop in as Crawley just chasses down the pitch. Tenduscarter quick to get the ball in, but yeah, Crawley able to eat up the ground between the 2 stumps.
Those long legs of his getting him down the other end quite quickly.
He's athletic. He's an athletic 6'6". So, field changes for the Kent skipper. Buttleman coming around just behind square, and Walter into that sort of mid-wicket position.
That's well bowled. A little bit turn there by the look of it as well. Buttleman's been an interesting choice. I've been very impressed with him, actually. I think he's done very, very well for Essex Eagles.
Yeah, it's certainly been a very positive addition to the batting ranks and the fielding ranks. Good work from Najjar, just pulling that one down a bit. Saw Drummond looking for the drive. Fielder's just going back a couple of yards now on this last ball of the over. Swung out to mid-wicket, but just the 2 off the over, and a very impressive opening 6 balls from Aaron Najjar.
Very good. He saw him dancing down the pitch, didn't he, and just varied his length a little bit, just held it back, and but the ball after Drummond, double bluffed it, didn't he, and pulled him away down to square leg for 1 run. But fantastic opening.
It's interesting to see the experience and the confidence rubbing off from Simon Harmer onto a fellow spinner. I mean, I think Najjar, what is he, 26, 27, so he's not a young man, but he is in terms of cricket terms, and he's obviously really beginning to build up that confidence even in this shorter form of the game. Jamie Porter into the mix, sees Drummond coming down and gets that ball into the block hole.
Very well bowled. Simon Harmer's very popular with his teammates, and we spoke to Jamie Porter earlier in the season, and he gets them the 4th day off quite regularly by taking 10 wickets in a game. So they tend to go and play golf, and they call it Harmy Day. So
yeah, he's popular with teammates and fans alike, I think.
Porter in, arms bustling.
Crawley again goes on that drive, and again it shoots out to the long-on boundary. Again, that extended reach. You've got to be so careful with your length when you bowl. Zach Crawley had such an outstanding year last year. PCA Young Player of the Year, one of Wisden's 5, of course, Cricketers of the Year, and made such an impact both with Cloudfm Country.
Double 100 for England.
Yep, it was all there for him last year. Oh, he's gone high this time. Who's underneath it? It's up. Oh, and it's been dropped. Simon Harmer, I think it was, of all people. No, it was Sam Cook, I beg his pardon, coming around a very awkward ball, taking the outside edge of Crawley's bat. And Cook it was who called off Neesham, coming in the right direction. but just spilled it again, and that's another life for Zach Crawley. 2 inside the first 3 overs.
They're never easy, those ones, are they, when they're spinning away? And just back with a point there, short third man.
They're a nightmare take. Bell Drummond goes down the track to Porter and hammers in for the first 6. This is where he is so dangerous. We've seen it so many times. You can go back to that game in July 2017 when he and Joe Denley put on over 200. It's a world record in T20 terms.
Never mind.
Always seems to put Essex to the sword.
Never mind COVID restrictions. I think that's just a lost ball, full stop, isn't it?
I think they might say bye-bye to that one. Now, how's Porter going to react? Slows the ball down, squeezed out through point. Cook's coming round.
Scampered home for 2. He's been a very good bowler for Essex, hasn't he, Jamie Porter? Over the last few years, he's been fantastic. And
more in the red ball than the white ball.
Yeah, but coming from club cricket, coming from Chingford, you know, it's been fantastic, and he's a wonderful addition, and he's got a baby on the way, I believe, as well.
Apparently. Again, Bell Drummond comes down the track. This time it goes high, lofting out to the cover boundary for a 1 bounce 4. And that's an expensive first over from Jamie Porter, gone for 18. Yeah, it's interesting to see this season. We've seen more of Porter and indeed of Sam Cook, which we didn't see a lot, and it was all to do with the fixture congestion that, of course, happened last year. Anthony McGrath keeping his 2 young strike bowlers fit and raring to go for the longer format of the game, but they've been playing a lot more T20 this time.
I thought Sam Cook bowled very well the other night against Surrey at the Oval. I know he had the conditions in his favour. It's a damp wicket and Surrey got stuck in, but they're a dangerous side, Surrey, aren't they?
Yeah.
And he bowled extremely well.
Yeah, Cook's been the premier bowler, if you will, in this tournament. 11 wickets before this match started. Right, Dan Lawrence to his England mate. Well, treated with disdain there. First one's gone for 4.
There'll be bragging rights there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Zach Crawley doesn't bowl, but Dan Lawrence will hate that opener.
Fresh from a test wicket as well, Dan Lawrence for England against New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a idiosyncratic action, though.
That's one way of putting it. As his teammates will say, it's a frog in a blender. So, Crawley already on to 19 off 11 balls. Goes down the track and puts him out through extra cover. Crawley's already gone into overdrive. 2 lives he's had, yes. But my goodness me, when the ball is in the slot, it disappears.
Absolutely nailed that one down towards the scoreboard, didn't he? Absolutely came out the screws. And ended up going under the covers. I think they've got to move the covers now to actually try and retrieve the ball.
In front of the scoreboard, they're just having something of a breather.
I think Crawley's targeted Lawrence here, though, hasn't he? He looks like he means business. Does Lawrence normally bowl in the power play?
He has done.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has done. It varies. It's not a regular feature, but he certainly has done. And it's normally a 1 over stint.
Yeah.
In order that Simon Harmer finds that variety. You tend not to find Harmer bowling in the first 6.
Yeah. They often rotate them, don't they? It's just 1 over here, 1 over there, and it sort of allows the batsman not to settle, doesn't it? Not to see too much of that bowling.
Which is, of course, the idea of just changing the point of release, point of attack, if you will. So Crawley 23, Bell Drummond 15, Spitfires 39 without loss. We've had 2 balls of the 4th over. Lawrence has gone for 2 fours in the first 2. What's his comeback? A sweep this time from Crawley. 3 successive 4s from the tall England bat. And Harmer and Lawrence now in conference as to what they can do to stem this torrent of boundaries.
That was beautifully swept as well, wasn't it? Got it over square leg, couple of bounces into the advertising boards in front of us.
Yeah, so controlled, wasn't it?
Mm.
Now, they're putting out, Najjar is going to come out to deep square leg, bringing in the long-on fielder into the circle. In fact, Najjar hasn't gone all the way, 3/4 of the way. And Lawrence doesn't care, he'll just go back, hit straight, and hit the 4th 4 of the over.
He's definitely targeting him, isn't he? Yeah, Lawrence has got the Najjar here at deep backward square. He's just slightly backward. He's about 15 yards backward of square, and he's got a deep mid-wicket out there as well. So,
but neither of them on the boundary.
No.
That's interesting. The pitch has moved over a couple of tracks for this one. It's not being played on the recent track that's been used. And he goes again. Well, we talk about 360 batsmen. I'm not sure we've seen the whole circle, but certainly he's hit 4s in every single direction. 20 now off this Dan Lawrence over. The 50 comes up
just waiting
in
for
23 balls. Sorry, Dan.
We're just waiting for him to play the Dill scoop now and get it all around the ground.
Well, the dot ball. Ironic cheers from the crowd. And that was a very expensive over. 20 runs off it as Crawley really picks up the pace inside this opening power play.
They seem to enjoy that in the Hayes End close there, didn't they? There's a crowd of 800 in here tonight, is that correct?
Apparently.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a few Kent followers that have made it across the bridge.
Yeah. There was a big Essex following at Lord's last night. I thought there was a lot travelled in from the east. And
well, making the most of the opportunity.
Yeah.
Having lost out last season. Sam Cook back in. That's one past Bill Drummond. I just get the feeling Simon Harmer needs a little bit of control brought back into this. 2 very expensive overs.
And the best way of getting control is by taking wickets, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Kent have got a dangerous top order here, you know. Jack Leaning's man flies under the radar a little bit, and he's one to watch. And Jordan Cox as well. He's a hard-hitting young batsman.
Changes the pace. Good bowling from Cook. Yeah, you look at that Kent lineup. 4 of their players are inside the top 20 run scorers. Leaning, you've mentioned Bell Drummond out there. Jordan Cox and Zach Crawley, they've all gone over 150 runs so far in this campaign.
Jordan Cox, the sandwich man, from the place, not his occupation.
I'm pleased to hear it. That's a good shot. Bell Drummond just pushed himself back in the crease to change that striking opportunity there, and then had the skill to put it out through backward cover. Just there, that's a lovely shot. That really is delightful.
Opened the face, didn't he, and just ran it down to the stand there down at the river end.
Oh, Cook drops short and Bell Drummond sends him in a similar direction. The Kent captain just upping the ante, having had 2 dot balls to start the over. He's now had 2 4s to follow it.
This is looking quite ominous for Essex already here. Bell Drummond 23 off 12 balls, Crawley 35 off 16 with excellent strike rates there. Crawley 218, Bell Drummond 191.
Bell Drummond coming down the track. They'll pick up a single.
There's a little bit of hesitation there, wasn't there?
Well, I think it was because the bowler was coming through so quickly. Good change of pace from Cook. Chelmsford born and bred, of course. Only match in 2019 was that finals day. He bowled a couple of overs, but he was part of the group that, of course, was able to celebrate not long after. Crawley picks it up on the full and just deposits it through square leg. Poor finish from Sam Cook's second over. 13 off it. Spitfires moving up to 64 now off the first 5 overs.
The man at square leg there hardly moved, did he? He just hit the boards there before he'd even got going. So he's hitting it really cleanly, isn't he, Zach Crawley? He looks like he's in really good touch. And Daniel Bill Drummond does as well.
Yeah, it's an impressive opening partnership and has been through the course of this campaign. It hasn't been a particularly good red ball campaign, it has to be said, for Kent, but certainly opening so quickly and so well. Baseball shot from the Kent captain greets Jamie Porter's second over. And the boundaries are just flowing now, and there's nothing really that Essex can do to stop them.
It wasn't pretty, but it was effective, wasn't it? And Kent have had an awful red ball campaign, actually, haven't they? They finished, or they're at the bottom at the moment of Group 3, which contains Yorkshire, Lancashire, Glamorgan, Northants and Sussex.
Easy single. Yeah, Kent opened so well with this T20 Blast campaign, winning 5 of their opening 6 to put themselves top of the log, but then of course lost at Bristol on Tuesday, so they'll be looking to get back to winning ways.
Gloucestershire are a very well organised side though. I saw them against Middlesex at Radlett last week, and they look a good unit.
Did they?
Yeah.
Of course this one got rained off as ever with Gloucester. I think the last time, pick up from Crawley, last time Gloucestershire played T20 here was back in 2016, can you believe? It always seems to rain when they're coming up from the West Country.
They bring their West Country weather up with them. So.
And the wellies.
But Ian Harvey, they're doing a good job, isn't he? And, you know, part of that Gloucestershire side that was so effective in one-day cricket in the early 2000s. And he seems to be installing that sort of discipline into the side there.
Porter goes short. It's swiped over. I think it's gone for 6. I think that one's just cleared the rope. Just looking for confirmation. Sam Cook going to retrieve the ball. Yep, it's given us the maximum. Bell Drummond making the most of every loose ball, and already Jamie Porter has shipped 12 runs in the opening 4 balls of this over. Went for 18 in that first over.
Yeah, he's 0 for 30 off 1.4. It's this is running away at the moment.
Final over of the power play. Kent have got off to a flyer. And it's going to be a wide to follow.
Anything down the leg side? I think he thought Bell Drummond was going to go leg side of the ball and try and give him room to hit it through the offside there, but he didn't. He stayed still and it was a wide. So. But yeah, Simon Harmer desperately needs a wicket here.
Slower ball, but squeezed out through that point area once again. Daniel Bell Drummond is just seeing it like a football at the moment. And a lovely, lovely 4 again from the Kent captain.
He looks very strong through that point and backward point area, doesn't he? He's opening the face there quite nicely, and it's not just dribbling, it's absolutely screaming through that area.
More conventional play this time. Won't get the second on Nijar's arm.
It's very well fielded.
So another expensive over from Jamie Porter. Another 18 on the Kent tally. 82 from the power play, and that, well, one of the best power plays I would suspect through any T20 game this season.
Yep. And also a hydration break now, where they have to sort of wash their hands, don't they, every 6 overs now. So, but yeah, Essex really do need something here.
Well, Paul Walter is being brought into the attack. Hasn't bowled an awful lot this season. Just a matter of 5 overs so far in the opening 7 games.
Long on's gone back, deep mid-wicket, and a deep backward square leg as well.
Both Kent batsmen on 40. Both with identical records up until that ball. 18 balls faced. Drummond now just getting the lion's share of the 37 they've received.
He's got a deep cover out there as well, and a third man. Just one to Drummond there, squeezed into the offside. But the 4 in the ring are a short fine leg, there's a mid-off, and a backward point, and an extra cover. And this is a little bit more of control that Simon Harmer's looking for, isn't it? That Paul Walters
yeah, the release out of the power play, of course, allowing the fielders back further away, and Crawley gets on the drive, but Nijar in perfect position.
What do you think's a par score here, Simon?
Well, you'd normally be looking at somewhere around 180, 185. It's not the biggest of grounds, although they're playing pretty much on the centre of the square. But the way that this Spitfires innings is setting up, you can see him getting past 200 again. Good work from the captain. Harmer making sure his body was behind it as well to make sure that wasn't getting through.
Well fielded at mid-off. Yes, you think 180, 190, but are we looking at a little bit more than that tonight?
Well, yeah, I think that seems to be on the cards at the moment. Again, Drummond smears it through the covers. Such a classy looking shot from the Kent opener.
Very well fielded down there as well. He got it into the hands and out again quickly, keeping them just to 1 run. This is good over here from Paul Walter. .1.11. So
got to finish strong.
Yep.
Last ball. And he does. That is a very good over from Paul Walter. 3 runs from it. And Simon Harmer getting what he wanted from the tall left armour.
Wore one there, it's drilled straight back at him, wasn't it? But when it's off your own bowling, you tend to stop them.
Now, Harmer is going to bring himself on from the river end.
It's Captain Simon Harmer.
This will be interesting to see how both Kent batsmen deal with the Essex captain. Such a talismanic character, of course, in so many ways. Canterbury went for 36 off 3 overs there. So they were able to put a bit of pain.
Do you find some batsmen actually sort of giving them respect and sort of just poke him around for singles?
Well, they know what he can do.
Yeah.
And he's been around long enough now that he has a reputation, he has a profile, I suppose, within the county game. Indeed, within the world game. So there is an awareness, shall we say, of what he can do. Doesn't always transpire, of course it doesn't. And they will be looking to upset line and length as quickly as possible now. Very sweet from Crawley.
He's around the wicket there as well, isn't he? So big ask for an LBW. It's got to turn quite prodigiously.
There's a sweeper out at point, so you will presume it's unlikely to be a boundary unless it's up. Nice length from Harmer. Just seen dropping it and just taking Crawley off the drive.
You often find in T20, the slower you bowl it, the harder it is to hit it. Gareth Batty being a very good exponent of that.
Neesham going for one and a bit stumps maybe from that position.
Do you think we'll see Jimmy Neesham have a bowl?
It's an interesting conversation that's going on about the Kiwi all-rounder at the moment. Just 12 overs he's bowled. There he is. 12 overs in the 7 games thus far.
He's
Well,
one of
6, I should say 6, because of course the Gloucester game was rained off. But
they're a country who've really produced a lot of really good players all in the same era, aren't they?
ooh, Crawley just trying to hold that ball back, and Harmer sniffed an opportunity there just for a moment. Good opening over from the Essex skip. Just 4, was it? I think went from that in the end.
If you look at New Zealand, they've got sort of 15, 20 very good cricketers there at the moment. They look at the reserves, or not their reserve side, but a squad side that beat England at Edgbaston. And Daryl Mitchell was another one there last night from Essex. And
they're all playing over here.
They've got some wonderful, wonderful cricketers at the moment.
Yeah, congratulations to the Black Caps. I was personally delighted to see them take that World Test Championship. Great to see, and yeah, they deserved it.
Country of 4 million against a country of 1.3 billion. So yeah.
Najjar into the attack.
Bowling.
And bowling. Great opener from Aaron Najjar. Boy, did he enjoy it. Crawley goes for 43 off 25. He had a couple of lives before, early on. Made the most of those opportunities. And the tall England batsman now strides back from whence he came.
Bright and breezy there from Zach Crawley, wasn't it? But it was an ugly way to get out. Attempting to put him again into over the Felsted school stand over there, and it was a big heave which he missed and lost his leg stump.
So that's the breakthrough that Simon Harmer was looking for. And Aaron Najjar once again has come up with the goods. It's 2 runs off the 7 balls he's bowled so far on that crucial wicket.
Joe Denley coming to the crease here, very experienced man.
Denley now 35 years of age.
Product of Whitstable, I believe. And he's a good cricketer, good experienced pro.
Immediately chasseing down the pitch to get straight to the ball and get on the scoreboard. They call him No Pants, apparently. I've yet to actually deduce why. I'm worried to ask in case I am told why.
Should we ask off air?
But yeah, no, it's up on the Kent website. Another single to Bell Drummond. 44-45 now off the 24 balls he's faced.
He looks serene, Daniel Bell Drummond, doesn't he? He's just stroking it around the ground and looks in very, very good nick. Denley off the back foot there, straight at extra cover. Najjar's bowling, he's getting it above the eye line, isn't he? He's bowling nice and slow again.
Speeds it up for that one. But the variety is good from Aaron Najjar.
Commentator's curse.
Well, no, it was valid. But the good thing is that within the 5 balls we've seen, there's been variety.
Yeah.
And that's what the batsman's not sure about. Well, Drummond only gets half a bat on that.
Well fielded down there. That sort of long on, wide mid-wicket, cow corner.
Yeah, good fielding down in the corner from Michael Pepper.
And it's his birthday today, I believe, Michael Pepper.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I'm yet to see whether they'll give him the bumps, but we shall wait.
Thought he batted very well last night at Lords. He put, I can't remember, he put someone into the tavern stand there with a big hit over there. So, yeah, I thought he was clean hitting.
I know you're a Middlesex fan. I was kind of surprised with the boundaries yesterday. They seemed to be quite short from the pictures that I was seeing.
Yeah, it was very short down towards the tavern side of the ground, down the slope, and also towards the nursery end as well. It's brought in quite a long way.
Denley facing Simon Harmer for the first time.
It was a wonderful, wonderful game of cricket, and fantastic advert for the county game.
Denley comes down the track and sends Harmer into the River Can. One bounce off the top of the media centre, and the century is up for the Spitfires. Denley hasn't taken long to hit his straps.
I hope the roof's good in that media centre over there, because
I'm sure they ducked.
That was straight off the top.
I'm sure they ducked. All the local BBC boys will have gone, "Ooh." Nobody called for the catch anyway. So Denley on 8, as he was last Sunday.
That was a big hit that. Yeah, so last night was the boundaries were brought in, and Stephen Eskenazi 100 there for Middlesex, but I thought Middlesex were possibly 15-20 runs light last night. I thought 195-200 was probably a pass score with those boundaries.
Seemed to be a very controlled Essex batting performance, as to be said. There was never any real sense of taking the handbrake off for any long period of time. Denley chips it straight out, and Harmer comes straight back at him. Well, that's what the Essex spinner is all about. The left armer takes a wicket in 1 over, and the right arm off break bowler in the next. Lawrence in perfect position, and once again, deja vu for Joe Denley. He's out for 8 against the Essex Eagles.
Just held that one back a little bit, didn't he? I think Denley was looking to put it in the same place as he did the ball before, and I think he just held that back, and Denley's bottom hand came in. It went slightly wider to mid-wicket and straight down Dan Lawrence's throat.
Just see, it's like Jack Leeming is coming in, who's a real in-form batsman for Kent at the moment.
He's had a fantastic June, hasn't he, in the Vitality Blast. The ex-Yorkshire man's got 42, 81 and 64 in this blast. And yeah, he's you know, as we said earlier, he's one that flies under the radar.
Averaging over 46 in this campaign so far. Batsman, of course, crossed. Skipper still there. So Leaning gets to face his first ball.
He's part of that Yorkshire side that won those county championships, wasn't he, in 2014 and 15, but never quite broke into the side. He's always a fringe player, wasn't he? And I think he's found more opportunities since his move down to Kent.
Yeah, that move. Was it last year, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Always get confused with the 2020 and what happened and what didn't happen. A score of 81 in that Gloucester match.
Just poking back the first one, straight back to Simon Harmer. Forward defensive, little sighter.
Down the track, and he's missed it, and that's an easy stumping for Wheater. And it's a double for Simon Harmer. And the spinner's doing the job for the Eagles now. The captain leading the way. Leaning goes second ball.
That's a big wicket.
Jack Leeming was dismissed by
Looks like the one that went on with the arm, doesn't it, from around the wicket, and went past the outside edge, and nice stumping there.
And look at the elation on Harmer's face. Well, Leaning's gone, Denley's gone, Krul is gone. Daniel Bell-Drummond is still out there, though.
Looks like it brings Alex Blake to the crease, doesn't it? Who's a white ball specialist and hard-hitting batsman.
You haven't seen an awful lot. In fact, no, that's Jordan Cox, I think.
incoming batsman for the Kent Spitfires.
Just looking.
Number 22, Jordan Cox.
Yeah, Jordan Cox stepping out. I'd be surprised if Alex Blake came out this early. I haven't seen much of him really in this campaign. And this young man certainly has been on top of his game and on top of the Kent batting averages, averaging over 50 already. Yeah, in 6 innings he's made up 203 runs, 64 top score. So in some fine form is young Jordan Cox.
We've got some good wicket keepers down there, haven't they? We've got Jordan Cox, Sam Billings can take the gloves,
Yep.
and Ollie Robinson.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm presuming it's going to be Ollie Robinson with the gloves on this evening. Sam Billings, of course, with the England group. I don't know whether you're watching, Sam, but a very good evening to you.
A county with a rich pedigree of producing wicket keepers over the years as well.
Well, Godfrey Evans, Alan Knott, that's always where you start, isn't it?
Leslie Ames,
Leslie
Paul
Ames as well.
Downton.
Yep. Paul Downton here, of course, is the director of cricket. Saw him earlier.
Geraint Jones via Papua New Guinea.
Najjar with the fourth ball, just one gone so far. Again, driving that ball into the turf.
I've been very impressed with Najjar. He's 1 for 8 of 2.4. Bowled beautifully, actually.
Cox goes back for the square cut, but the ball really didn't come on. He's going to scramble the single, but just 2 off the over with 1 ball left. And Najjar obviously just changing the pace, just changing the tempo with which the batsman trying to strike the ball.
Man going out from the circle out to deep mid wicket as well now.
Neesham heading out to the Felsted School stand as Bell Drummond on 49. Sends it to him, takes the single, and that's the half century for the Kent captain. Off 28 balls.
Very good knock, very good knock.
Including 5 fours and 2 sixes.
Well, I keep saying he does love batting against Essex. He's been a thorn in their side on so many occasions.
But these two are set up nicely in this group, in this Vitality Blast South group, aren't they? They're just behind the front runners, and you know, they're both in very sort of strong positions.
Dan Lawrence back into the attack. Oh, it's gone out. Oh, and that's a brilliant catch from Simon Harmer. Wow, what a catch that was. In all honesty, it was a half bunger. Bell Drummond, having just celebrated his 50, stepped back and was going to put it in the pavilion. Didn't make the contact he was hoping with, and look at this. The Essex captain coming in. They're the hardest catches to take right in front of you. And those big mitts get under the ball. Oh, that is special.
Absolutely brilliant catch, and often when your elbows hit the floor there, the ball pops out, doesn't it? And he slid with it. And
not when you got buckets like Harmer.
Very true. But
you lose sight of the ball, let alone them popping out. But that is a big wicket. And suddenly Essex Eagles have changed where this match is at. 104 for 4, and what was it, 89 without loss.
Indeed, that's the beauty of T20 cricket. Like last night's game, it ebbed and flowed and oscillated, didn't it? And it's wonderful how quickly it can change in the blink of an eye. It's also amazing how much rubbish gets wickets as well. And a half tracker like that smashed straight down.
I used to bowl it every weekend, personally. Always worked for me.
You and me both.
Dan Lawrence. Into Cox, that inside edge, going to scoot away. It's not going to go for 4 though. Good work from Buttleman.
It's well fielded there by Buttleman, because that was running away quicker than we thought, actually, didn't it?
It did pick up pace, didn't it?
But an inside edge there by the look of it.
These new floodlights now on. Feels like you're on stage.
They're fantastic for sighting the ground as you drive into Chelmsford.
I'm sure.
You know exactly where it is.
Probably for sighting from outer space as well, I should think. Alex Blake. Oh, that's a big appeal. Very confident appeal. But Rob White not interested.
Slightly high, perhaps.
Alex Blake. Tall man.
Rob White having none of it there, was he? This is good bowling here as well. It's good captaincy from Simon Harmer, taking the pace off the ball a little bit and actually making the batsman hit the ball as opposed to just deflecting it and using the pace on it. Dan Lawrence in his second over.
Walter going deep. Reverse sweep, beautifully placed by Alex Blake. That really is a classy shot.
I saw him at Lord's a couple of years ago for Kent against Middlesex, and he got 60 odd there, and he looked a very, very good player. He hit one actually over the grandstand there, which is a big, big hit.
32 years of age now. He's been around a bit. In fact, made his debut here back in 2010. His T20 debut, anyway. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Oh, hang on. The finger hasn't gone up, or has it? Yeah, he's gone, caught behind, and that's a great return from Dan Lawrence. Well, Dan is the man once again for Essex. 2 wickets in the over.
Yeah, what a comeback. Both times he's been hit for 4 and, you know, come back well. So, Blake there going for a cut shot and just feathered one behind, didn't he, to Wheater.
Well, Lawrence went for a lot in his first over, but that is some comeback. 2 for 27 now. And that is a big change in the way this game has gone. 4 wickets inside. No, 5 wickets. What am I saying? 5 wickets inside 3, nearly 4 overs. And the game has a very different complexion.
Yeah, the score was on 89 when Zach Crawley got out, wasn't it? And 111 for 5. It's a remarkable turnaround here by Essex, and it's very, very well bowled. But the spinners doing their job here, and Simon Harmer doing a great job captaining it as well.
So Darren Stevens out onto the track. It's going to be first sighting of Jimmy Neesham this evening.
Darren Stevens just signed a new 1-year contract extension, hasn't he, which will take him through to his 46. He's going to be 46 by the time that's over, and he's still going. He's a remarkable cricketer. And I don't think you can use the word Darren Stevens without using the adjective evergreen into a sentence, can you?
And he's something of a cult hero, I think, amongst Spitfires fans. Cox facing Neesham. Again, Neesham driving it into the deck. Allowing Stevens to set up to face his first ball.
Well, they love him, and there's also been a bit of a campaign to get him into the England side, hasn't there? With his, he's had to sign a little bit over Marnus Labuschagne, and people are talking about bringing him into the England side.
Honestly, would be, can't see that happening, but yeah, I take on board the swell of public opinion.
It'd be great taking a 75-mile-an-hour bowler out to the Gabba, wouldn't it? But there you go. Good bouncer there from Neesham. Surprised Darren Stevens, first ball, fended it off his sort of throat area and just down for a dot ball.
Just looking at the way this is setting up, Harmer's now bowled 2, Lawrence has only bowled 1, only went for 3 runs. Lawrence has now got through 2. Ijara has 1 left as well, Cook has 2, Porter has 2. Halfway through the 13th over. Again, Neesham goes short this time. It's a baseball shot from Darren Stevens. Been there, seen it, done it, got most of the T-shirts, though whether they still fit is debatable, but really has all the talent in the world, Darren Stevens.
Wonderful cricketer, wonderful cricketer. He has so much time there, didn't he? And just put that in between mid-on and deep mid-wicket there for a boundary.
Made his debut in 1997. Many that were playing in that century that are still playing now. Neesham trying to come back. Stevens just dabbling it down to third man.
I think Tendo's the next oldest playing first-class cricket.
Is he?
I think he is, and then Gareth Berg at Northamptonshire. I think he's 40 as well.
Right.
And there's quite a few who are sort of in their late 30s. People like Steve Patterson up at Yorkshire. And
Okay, so there may be a few that were around pre-2000s.
was that 21 years ago now? So,
Yeah. Cox on the drive, but nothing to Harmer, and Neesham finishes an over that went for 6. So Simon Harmer will no doubt be satisfied with that. 117 for 5 now on the board for the Spitfires. 13 overs done.
This is a very, very good turnaround, and you know, what was looking like 200 as a sort of score for 20 overs now looks like sort of 180, 190, something like that, perhaps.
Yes, you adjust the figure now, don't you?
Yeah. But with Darren Stevens in, anything can happen. He's a good, solid, experienced cricketer, and he knows what to do in these situations, doesn't he?
Good anticipation from Cook. Lawrence into his 3rd over now, 2 for 27.
Very well fielded there at backward point.
A little bit fuller and allows, yeah, that's a really powerful forearm shot from Stevens. In the slot, Tenduskartha only had about 10-15 metres to move to his right, but the ball had hit the boards almost before he'd moved.
You can see he's got that area in mind, can't you? You can see he's already pre-planned it.
A delicate late cut, but doesn't get anything from it.
That's Cook there at backward point, isn't it? Yeah,
yep.
He's doing some fantastic work there.
Battleman at, what do you call that?
Short fine leg.
Short fine leg. I was
Yeah.
going to call it short long leg, but that's a contradiction in terms. Stevens, once again, gets nothing from that. 4 balls, 4 runs.
Yeah,
That's Lawrence over.
Buttleman just on the 45 there for that little one worked off the
paddle.
legs. Yeah, one was worked round the corner.
Lawrence just changing things up for the last 2 balls, bringing Neesham across to the offside. Just putting a bit more security into the covers, maybe.
Essex have used 7 bowlers here so far, so one of their sort of main bowlers isn't going to bowl his 4 here.
Stevens goes big, goes large, and goes into the river can.
That's massive. That was big.
That has ended up in a different postcode. Well, Stevens bringing out the long irons there. Last ball of this Lawrence over. 10 now he's conceded.
Dangerous game to play that. Try and run it down.
4 dot balls, but the other 2 went for boundaries. 2 for 37 now for the England man.
So which bowlers do you think is going to complete their quota here, do you think? I think Nijjar's bowled very well. He's 1 for 10 off 3. It wouldn't surprise me to see him bowl this 4.
My money would be on Cook, Nijjar and Harmer, but we're used to having this conundrum as to who you think would be finishing their full 4 doesn't actually get the ball in their hands again. So it is Aaron Nijjar, so one of my numbers is going to come up tomorrow.
Yeah, let's hope he doesn't spoil it now, because he's bowled very well, I think.
1 for 10 of his first 3. Cox pushes out into the leg side, thinks about 2, but then remembers he's got Darren Stevens at the other end. And Stevens in such fine form, you'd want him on strike in any case, wouldn't you?
You don't want to run him out, do you?
Nijal driving that ball into the pitch, trying to upset the batsman's timing.
Just worked into the leg side there, wasn't it? Just square on the leg side for one man coming in off the boundary, kept him down to a single.
Cox trying to squeeze it away through point.
Didn't get all of that, did he? Didn't
No.
come out the screws. So
It was on him a bit faster than he expected, I think. Not going to get a single there either.
that's very
Two
well
dot
bowled.
balls.
Very well bowled. He saw him coming and just darted it into him. He's got lovely variation, Nigel, hasn't he? Very, very good variation.
Quite subtle as well.
Yeah.
Cox uses his feet, but again doesn't get all of that. Will only pick up the single. Last ball of Nijal's spell. He's got Darren Stevens now facing him. Gets an outside edge and it's a dot ball to finish, and that is a very, very impressive spell from Aaron Nijal. This crowd here appreciating the work of the left arm spinner. Really has worked it very, very well. 1 for 13 off his 4 overs. Efficient, and he's taken the wicket. The wicket of Zach Crawley. So he's done.
He's not only varied his flight, he's actually varied his turn, hasn't he? Some have gone on with the arm back into the right-hander and some have spun and gone away. And I think he's bowled extremely well. It's been very, very impressed with him.
15 overs done. We're into the final quarter of this Spitfires innings. They've got 130 on the board. Half of the side back in the hutch. Simon Harmer coming on once again from the river end. Round the wicket though. Jordan Cox had a struggle so far. Goes for that reverse sweep, and that is beautifully done. Just as I said he was struggling, he pulls that one out the bag, the reverse sweep, and that was just exceptional. Beautiful shot from Jordan Cox.
Yeah, he was only 7 off 12 before that ball, wasn't he? And struggling to time it a little bit, but that was beautifully, exquisitely timed.
Now Simon Harmer is bringing over Neesham. He's got a short third man, he's got a man just behind point. So Cox inevitably puts it into the leg side.
These are the overs that Kent will really target, won't they? These last 5, they're going to be wanting 180, aren't they? And they'll be wanting 10 and over from this stage in.
Stevens brought forward onto the drive by Harmer. Can't really control the shot. Again, a replica of that last ball.
Works it to mid-wicket, but can't get the single away, can he?
Goes with the big sweep. The back fielder's under there on Nijal. Just, well, he was right in front of us. He did really well to stop the ball first up. I wondered whether he was going to pull a dive out, but it was such an awkward place because it was in front of him, and ultimately he made sure his body was in the way and it didn't go for the boundary, and I guess that's the bottom line. Cox going to just get another one, but that's 7 off the over from Harmer, and Essex have really put the brakes on the visitors' scoreboard.
It was one of those that when they go backward a square, they carry on going, don't they? They carry on going finer and finer.
And it's that arc.
It's the arc, yeah. Because I mean, we're directly behind it. And we thought it was right down his throat, and it just continued to go there. I don't think it was
it was short.
Chance.
It
yeah,
was
it
short.
wasn't a chance.
On the certainly on the pathway that he was taking to the ball, the initial pathway. and it probably changed mid-flight as well. So a very, very difficult opportunity, if indeed it was.
It would be harsh. It would be harsh.
I think I agree. I agree with you, Dan. I think that's unfair to call it a chance. Good piece of fielding ultimately, as Sam Cook is back into the attack. Over number 17 beginning now, as Jordan Cox gets the drive out.
Out to deep cover just for a single.
Now my betting is that Sam Cook will bowl over 17 and 19. Simon Harmer will bowl number 18. It's a matter who's going to bowl number 20. Jeremy Porter has been death bowler recently.
Has that gone over the batsman's head there? No, it's a good bouncer.
Darren Stevens is looking for the call from Rob Bailey. I should think, I don't know, but I should think that Darren Stevens must have played against Rob Bailey on several occasions.
Yeah, when Rob Bailey was at Northampton, he was a good player there, wasn't he? And a hard-hitting batsman.
Stevens would have been at Leicestershire.
Yeah.
Cook to Stevens. Goes for that Yorker ball. Stevens is on it. And he's so quick to pounce anything on that fuller length, and the bat drives its way through. Nothing really that Harmer could do.
That's the thing about targeting the Yorker. Your margin of error is so small, isn't it? And it can easily be a half volley or a low full toss, and you get it slightly wrong, and it generally ends up hitting the boundary boards with a thwack.
Darren Stevens already passed his top score of the season. 22 now. Cox back on strike for the 5th ball of this Cook over.
So after this pair, Kent have got Grant Stewart, Kays Ahmed, Matt Milne still to come in. And Freddie Clarkson, I think, is the 11th man, isn't he?
Yeah. Straight drive from Cox, very efficient work from the 20-year-old.
And might not be needed at this rate.
It's good work from Jordan Cox. Just picked up the length so quickly, didn't overplay it, didn't overhit it, and it shot like a rocket out to this near side boundary. Cox flails one out to 3rd man. 11 off the over. 148 for 5 now. 3 overs left for the Spitfires. What's your pocket money on, target wise?
Yeah, I'd go 180. I'll go 183.
I'm going to go 188 if Darren Stevens stays in.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Cox has suddenly found his tempo. And Stevens, we know what a class act he can be.
That last one there, flailed down to 3rd man. As a Middlesex fan, we don't like to talk about anything flailing down to 3rd man after that last ball yesterday, do we? So
it must have been, as Middlesex players just looked absolutely gutted, having worked themselves back in to the game to take, what was it, 5 wickets in 10 balls?
Yeah.
And then it looked for all world like it was in their control. Cox goes down the track, gets half a bat in it. Harmer saw him coming there. You could see him drop it short. Harmer in his final over.
Never mind the players, Simon. I was crestfallen.
Were you? How many pints?
Well, a few, but I was heading my hands in
just to dilute the dismay.
Indeed.
Darren Stevens facing up to Harmer. Goes back in his crease and sends it in the similar direction to the last 6. Straight over into the River Can once again.
That's even bigger, that one.
150 up now for the Spitfires, but again, you see the experience of Stevens stepping back into the crease to change the point of contact.
Uses the depth of the crease very well, doesn't he? And managed to hoik it over the marquee down there.
tough man, Darren Stevens. Apparently his party trick is to drip candle wax on his tongue.
I've heard this with a guy, was it a guy called Alan Snyman from South Africa? And Stuart Broad was with him when he did that as well.
I
so.
think we ought to see a video. I think it ought to go onto social media somewhere. Just proof, obviously. Not that I'm ever going to argue with Mr. Stevens. Stevens goes high, but he hasn't got all of this. Dan Lawrence is underneath it and takes it. Well, again, Harmer gets hit for 6-1 ball, pulls it back on the second ball, and Dan Lawrence is in the right place once again. It was Denley before. Now it's Stevens, 6th wicket down for the Spitfires, 155 on the board.
Yeah, he was looking to repeat the same shot, wasn't he? And yeah, he didn't quite time that one. I think he just got a sort of toe end of the bat for a little bit. And comfortable catch there. He made it look quite easy, actually, didn't he? It was a steepler, but he made it look very easy.
Well, I'm going to check my earlier score prediction, I think. With the exit of Mr. Stevens, I'm going to bring it back to about 180, 179 even. I'm just looking to see who's going to bowl. Sam Cooke will bowl one. And my guess is that it's either Neesham or Porter.
Who's this coming into bat? Is it Grant Stewart by the look of it?
Yep.
Incoming batsman for the Kent Spitfires. Number 9, Grant Stewart.
He's an interesting character. He's an Australian and EU passport, having his virtue of an Italian mother, and he's a qualified civil engineer. But he had a badly torn hamstring, which ruined his blast campaign last year. But he's quick, isn't he? We saw him balling up. And,
yeah. See what he's got with the bat. But he's up the supporting end as Cox gets a top edge. It's going to be 2 wickets and 2 balls in exactly the same way. Messrs Harmer and Lawrence combining once again. And Simon Harmer's on a hat-trick.
Yeah, what a partnership. They crossed there, so it was Cox who was out, but doing exactly the same as Darren Stevens, just didn't get as much elevation on it. And
got a top edge, didn't he?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Case Ahmed.
Yeah, I want to have a look at him bowl. I haven't seen much of him, and he's a 20-year-old leg spinner from Afghanistan, isn't he? And he looks an interesting player.
We'll find out about that later. It's now, can he hold a bat?
Yeah.
2 balls left in Harmer's stint. 4 for 25 already. And this hat-trick ball as Grant Stewart lines up.
He's got hat-tricks for Essex, hasn't he, Simon Harmer?
Harmer, oh, he's got everything.
Yeah.
You name it.
What a signing, what a signing.
Yeah, no longer Colpack, of course, but still the best value that Essex have ever had, I think, certainly for a long time. There'll be others that may argue the case of various imports, Keith Boyce being my personal favourite. But Simon Harmer... Oh, he's gone through, he believes it. Again. Oh, the crowd had their fingers in the air. Well, those that were Sporting Essex did.
I thought the umpire was going to go there. He had his hand in the holster, didn't he?
There was a tremor, wasn't
yeah.
there? It was a tremor. Final ball of Harmer's stint.
You've had some wonderful overseas players here at Essex, haven't you? You've had Mark Wall, Salim Malik, what a player he was.
Kenny McEwen.
Yeah.
Bruce Francis, and going back a bit further now. Oh, that is a special spell from the Eagles skipper. 4 for 26 off his 4 overs, and the applause ripples around this knowledgeable, if fairly slender crowd here at the Cloudfm County Ground. 156 for 7 now, the Spitfires, 2 overs left.
So Boyce was your personal favourite, wasn't he?
He could do everything. He could, where the Felsted School stand is, he'd come in, pick the ball up and huzz it, and I swear to God, it never got above stump height, and it just went straight in the wicket-keeper's hands.
Fantastic.
And as a bowler and a batsman, well, it was electric, absolutely electric. They tried in vain to replace him for many years. Norbert Phillip was one. Oh, that back of the handball from Sam Cooke, almost picking up the wicket of Stewart. and that was when an overseas player stayed for the whole season.
Yeah. Yeah, now they're in and out,
It
aren't they?
wasn't hired guns. It was, you know, you were part of the group.
What island was he from? His voice.
Barbados.
Okay. There's some wonderful West Indian cricketers. He didn't quite make the side during that golden era for West Indies. Middlesex and Wayne Daniel. And
he was fringe, certainly. He played some big games for the West Indies, don't get me wrong, but Case Ahmed swings and swings high. And is he going to get the 4? Fielder does very well down on that boundary.
Brilliant bit of fielding down there at third man.
Jamie Porter doing the job for his old mate Sam Cook. It's all about the numbers for those fast bowlers.
Indeed, that's the currency. Hallam Mosley was another one at Somerset, wasn't he? He was a wonderful cricketer who could underarm it in from the boundary.
Ahmed again, swinging hard. Oh, Ahmed lined it up. Ahmed was a dead duck if that had hit. He wasn't even chasing it, wasn't even going hard for it. He knew that if that throw was accurate, he was gonna.
I don't think it missed by much either. It was a cat's whisker, I think, judging by the expression from Simon Harmer. Well bowled.
Cook goes right into the block hole. No chance for Grant Stewart to really get a swing on that one. 161 for 7 with 8 balls left.
Get it under the bat. He's looking to swing big, isn't he? He's looking to put him over the Felsted School stand over there, or, you know, into the Hayes End Close. And,
he's not the biggest of players, Case Ahmed, but he's certainly putting his body to the cause with bat in hand. Porter just going a little narrower at third man. Finer as Cook drives it in.
He's been very impressive, Sam Cook, the little chef. He's been very good.
Yep, hasn't got any wickets this evening as yet. He's got 1 ball to change that, but he certainly has done a job for it.
He's had a good campaign though, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, yeah, no question about that. 11 wickets, an economy of 6.89. Might change a bit. Changes it, forcing Case Ahmed to try and hit the leather off it. So, good spell from Cook, gone for 10 and over off his 4. So, who is going to get dibs on the last one? Is it going to be Lawrence? Is it going to be Walter? It's not going to be Neesham.
One is on Jamie Porter.
Oh, it is going to be Neesham.
Oh, it is Neesham.
It's going to be the black cap.
Change your bowling from the river end. Coming on, Jimmy Neesham.
And how long's Neesham here for? Is he here for the whole Blast campaign?
Well, initially, yes. How that's changing, we don't quite know. But from what I understand, yes, of course, Harmer is one overseas player now.
Yep.
And I think Neesham was the other.
And they're all London One Day Cup. Are you allowed to play?
I don't know the answer to that one.
Right.
Oh, that's clever from Ahmed. That's nice. Don't think he's going to get a 4 because Nijar will pull it back and Buttleman will complete it. Apparently, I'm told by the powers that be that Neesham is available for the One Day Cup. I'm not sure that he's here for the knockout stages of the T20 though. I think initially it was only for the group stages, but things may change, of course, as they do.
That's a fantastic bit of fielding right below us there from Nijar, wasn't it? And Buttleman with the throw.
Again, Ahmed swings hard, swings out to the leg side, only picks up the single.
4 balls left. I think my 183 is looking a tad extravagant.
I would think so. I wouldn't want your pocket money to go to waste. 8.5 and over from the Spitfires. Can they really do make any change to this in the last 4 balls?
Where do you think he's targeting? I think he's targeting the river end here.
Got to go leg. He's got to go leg. It's a good depth ball from Nation, not allowing the swing of the bat to lift it. Keeping Kent to the single.
Just tucked him up for room a little bit, didn't they?
3 balls left. Oh, he's gone heavy this time. He's sat back, but he's... Oh, is that taken?
Catch.
That is Dan Lawrence. Dan Lawrence, take a bow. My goodness me, what's that? His 4th catch of the inning.
That was absolutely spectacular, and he's claimed it by putting one finger up in the air and actually giving him out as well.
Just confirming he caught it. Here he comes in, circles the ball and gets his hands underneath it. Oh, that was special. Case Ahmed really thought he got hold of that, but it's a long way out. I know we've seen a few sixes over that side, but it's a long way, and Neesham picks up a wicket.
Again, an excellent catch. It's very easy for the ball to pop out, isn't it, when the elbows hit the ground there, and fantastic bit of work there by Daniel Lawrence.
So the Eagles continue to take wickets. It would appear right up to the death. Matt Mills coming in for all of 2 balls.
Originally at Nottinghamshire, wasn't he, Matt Mills, a Nottingham lad, and he's done well since going down to Kent.
Neesham again aiming for that block hole. Just a single squeezed away. In fact, that was Grant Stewart, of course, wasn't it?
Yeah, they crossed.
Facing that, they crossed. This is Matt Mills facing his only ball of the Spitfires innings.
He's got to be targeting the leg side here, hasn't he? He's got to be targeting that corner down there where Daniel Lawrence is lurking.
Final ball of the Spitfires 20. Neesham to Milnes. And he goes straight through. Milnes was trying to just ramp it over fine leg. Neesham went full, hit the stumps on the full, and it's 167 for 9 that the Spitfires end up with.
That was very reminiscent of Daniel Lawrence's dismissal at the Oval the other night for Essex against Surrey, and he went offside of the ball, didn't he? Tried to work it leg side and missed a full toss and looked rather discombobulated as he thought it might be a no-ball.
So the target is 168. Kent, who started out so well. Let's have a look at the Essex scorecard of the Spitfires inning. It was Bell Drummond and Zach Crawley who got the team under such a start. 89 they put on before Crawley got bowled by Nijar. Denley and Leaning couldn't make any difference. Bell Drummond went very quickly, and then Stevens and Cox a bit further down the line, but went in successive balls to Simon Harmer, the Harmer-Lawrence axis, as it was. Lawrence taking 4 wickets to keep the Spitfires held in check. 8.4 is the run rate required by the Essex Eagles.
It's an absolutely fantastic comeback there by Essex, isn't it? I mean, Kent were 89 for 1 there when Zach Crawley was out after 8.1 overs, and they were running away with it, weren't they? And it was looking like a big target they were going to set.
Well, it's going to be a fascinating chase. Join us after the ad break when we will have a chat with Graham Gooch to see what he made of that first inning score from the Kent Spitfires, 167 for 9. Well, what a first innings it was here at the Cloudfm County Ground, joined by our legendary summariser, Mr. Graham Gooch. We flagged it before. The Kent opening partnership is very special. 89 off 8 overs said it all. But what a comeback that was by Essex.
Amazing. I don't want to use the football term, a game of two halves, but that was one. I mean, Kent went off like a train, didn't they? A runaway train. I mean, they were playing pure cricket shots, especially Jack Crawley. When Dan Lawrence came on, you know, he was firing it in. Normally Dan Lawrence's bowling is quite awkward, you know. It's not an easy action to pick up, but he just took him to the cleaners. But you just never know. You gotta believe in yourself, and you gotta hold your nerve in this game.
And that's it, isn't it? Holding the belief and the nerve.
Yeah.
It's exactly what the Eagles have got used to doing now.
And then suddenly, you know, the wickets started to tumble and the game looked completely different. So Simon Harmer, the Eagles captain, you know, I think after that power play, he would have bitten your hand off for this score. So, you know, they've still got a lot of work to do, the Eagles, but they're in the game now. They know that total, you know, is gettable on this ground. And it's a bit damp out here, and if the ball skids on a little bit, they're going to have to bat well, but they did it at headquarters last night, so they're in with a chance.
We talked about the return of Dan Lawrence from England camp, what a difference he makes, mostly with the bat in his hand. But he's picked up, you know, having given whatever it was, 20 runs away in that first innings. He then picked up wickets. He's picked up 4 catches, and very important catches. The value of Dan Lawrence is on the up, you would say, for Essex Eagles.
Yeah, I think it is for English cricket in general. Yep. You know, he's a very talented young man. He's got a good attitude, good character, and he's a fighter. And you saw that, you know, even after he got smashed around to all parts of the ground by Zach Crawley, his England teammate actually of recent times
That's not going to be quiet, is it?
Yeah, I mean that's obviously going to carry on for a while in the dressing room. I think a little bit of, a bit of need, a bit of banter, you know, a bit of point scoring, but. Look, he came back well, he took the catches. I think he's an important part of any team because he's an upbeat character. That's the way he bats. You know, he bats with a lot of confidence, a lot of bravado. He goes for his shots and he instills that in other people, and he kept going. And, you know, he's been like that since he came into the Essex setup in all forms of the game. And as he gains more experience, he's becoming a player that influences matches, and that's what you want in a team.
Yeah, match winners are so valuable, as we know, in any format of the sport. What's interesting to me now is we talked about opening partnerships being very important. We didn't see it at Lord's last night. I think Buttleman went fairly early for single figures, didn't he? But there was a control and a belief, what you've just mentioned, the belief that you can still win the game if you keep the scoreboard ticking. We saw it at Lord's last night, albeit it ended up with that crazy finish. But tonight, how important is it for the Eagles to just keep control of that scoreboard all the way through?
I think the important word, you know, in any batting, but in particular T20 batting, is composure. You've got to be composed. And that was the impressive thing about Zach Crawley here. We've just seen he played proper cricket shots at the beginning. Yeah. And that's what our guys, the Eagle guys, need to do. Adam Wheater, Will Butterman. Yes, be aggressive. Yes, attack. But do it as a science. Play proper cricket shots. Play good percentage shots. And, you know, don't be reckless. You know, if you get a good over, you get 10, 12 off the over. You don't have to do anything silly. Just move on and build a score. You still have to build a score as a batter in this form of the cricket, and you have to go on, and above all, you want to be the person who wins the game for your team. You don't want to get 20, 30, 40 and pass it over to someone else. We saw a big partnership last night at Lord's from Neesham and Dan Lawrence, and it really should have taken the Eagles home, but they both got out, and it became a bit tight, a bit frantic at the end.
A bit.
And you don't want that. You want someone to take responsibility and go on and win the game. And that's what I think these young players need to learn, as well as the dashing shots, the flashy shots and the exciting shots. You've got to want to be there at the end and do the job and finish the job.
And who is the biggest threat in your mind from the Kent bowling lineup? I mean, we haven't seen much of Qais Ahmed, the new Afghanistan leg spinner, but you always love the leggy. Is he and Joe Denley, of course, another leggy? Are they the main players, do you
I
think?
would expect them both to bowl, as we've already identified around the world in every form of franchise cricket. Leg spin is a good commodity to have because it makes the batsman think that little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform on this short boundary. I know Klassen, I don't know much about him, Fred Klassen, but he's got lots of wickets in this competition. Yep. He's been very successful. So, Kent are not second in our table for nothing. They've got a good lineup who are, perform well with the willow and also with the ball. So, the Eagles will have to be on their game to win. But they know they've got momentum. If they can win this one, they've still got a chance of qualifying, for the knockout stage, and that's a big prize to go for.
Yeah, momentum is absolutely critical in the Vitality Blast. We know that from previous experience. We shall look forward to this Essex retort after the break. 168 the target. Join us then. So, welcome back to the Cloudfm County Ground. 167 for 9 was the Spitfires' total tally in that first 20 overs. I'm Simon Ward, joined by cricket journalist and podcaster Dan Whiting as my co-commentator this evening. It's a run rate of 8.4. What are your thoughts on the chase and the viability of the Eagles winning this evening?
I think the power play will be absolutely crucial. I was very impressed by Buttleman the other night in the game against Surrey, where he played a very mature innings. He's a young lad, isn't he? He's just come into the side this season, and I thought I was very, very impressed. I thought it was a knock of great maturity there from him.
Well, certainly Buttleman and Wheater will be the opening partnership we expect. There's Daniel Bell-Drummond just getting his troops in the right headspace for this follow-up.
If Essex can pull this off, it'll cap a fantastic week for the county, won't it? With the 2 wins away in London, up the A12 in London, where they went away to the Kia Oval, went away to Lords and managed to come away with the spoils. So if they can win this one tonight in the Bridge Derby against Kent, it'll be a wonderful, wonderful week for them.
Yes, the Battle of the Bridge. Not quite the same as it was in 1776 when it began. 2 teams agreed to play at Tilbury Fort in Essex. The Kentish team apparently had a ringer, supposed professional. Essex objected, refused to play, and a bloody battle ensued. Thankfully, it ain't going to finish like that this evening. Interesting to see what the weather does. The clouds are fairly high at the moment. I'm not seeing... What are you looking at?
Does it come in from over there, over those?
No, it comes from behind us, which is London, basically.
Okay.
And there doesn't seem to be much of a breeze, so my contention at the moment is that we should get the full 20 in without too much of a check on the Duckworth-Lewis.
Yeah, there's a little bit of fluttering of the leaves in the trees here, just to our right, but not too much, nothing really hurricane-esque.
I wasn't going quite that far, it has to be said. Right, so Matt Milnes will open the attack for the visitors. 5-4-22 against Glamorgan earlier on in this campaign. So he's been hitting some good form. Will Battleman will take first dibs up the other end.
And an Essex win here would really throw the group wide open, wouldn't it? Lost the top on 10 points before tonight's games, these are. Kent with 10, Sussex 9, Surrey 8, Essex 7, Somerset 6, Glamorgan 6, Hants 4, and let's not mention Middlesex propping up the table with 2 points.
Should we not?
No, let's not.
Okay.
Let's not. Let's keep that one quiet.
Try and keep you happy. Here comes Milnes. Gets past Battleman's outside edge.
It's quite lively first ball, a little bit of lift there.
Jordan Cox with the gloves on. I was looking for Ollie Robinson, but of course he wasn't in the final 11, was he? So,
no.
Yeah, Cox, the regular stand-in for Sam Billings.
I think with a lot of these games at the moment, they're playing every couple of days and there's distances to travel, so I think they have a rotation policy, don't they?
Oh, is that gone? Yes, it has. Second ball duck for Will Battleman. Matt Milnes makes an early strike for the Kent Spitfires. And the old Felstedian has to trudge his way off with a 0 next to his name.
Just a little feather through to Jordan Cox there, isn't it? And I didn't realise he's another product of Felsted. You've had a few here over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Nick Knight, Derek Pringle, weren't they Felsted guys?
Yeah, plenty of them.
Yeah.
And of course, Felsted School, one of the club partners as well.
Number 28, Dan Lawrence.
So from the South group, I mean, there's some strong sides in there. Surrey are always a dangerous side, aren't they? They're on 8 points, but it'll be interesting to see how they get on with, people like Jason Roy going away to the England side, and how counties will cope with that sort of transition, what they've got in reserve.
Yeah.
But with Surrey, they can, Jason Roy can go and they can bring in Hashim Amler. So let's not feel too sorry for him.
Yeah, well, Aaron Nijar's got his number. I think he's got him out for a duck, or at least a golden duck, on the last 2 occasions he's faced him.
Glorious.
What an opener. Now, if anybody wants to ask how classy Dan Lawrence is, you just look at that shot, first ball up.
Imperious on drive there, all along the carpet, 4 runs. That was gorgeous. That was absolutely gorgeous. But he needs a big knock here. Dan Lawrence is the man he batted very well last night. It was at 59 he got last night, and he's held the innings together. And it was when he went that Essex started to unravel a little bit.
Well, it was him and Neesham going shortly after one another, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was the problem. Neesham going for
they've played a
13.
cheeky single. They weren't going to there, and they've taken a little cheeky single into the leg side and scampered through for one.
That's just a hurry up for the Kent fielders, and the skip will not be happy with that.
No. Keeps them on their toes.
So Adam Wheater gets to face his first ball.
He's been here a while now, Wheater, hasn't he?
Well, he went to Hampshire
yeah,
for a little bit on loan and then came back. Doesn't get that one through the cover ring.
Pro coming in for the covers, made Jordan Cox dive there for that. Power play is so important, isn't it? These first 6 overs are crucial, and Ken had a really, really good power play.
Get the leg by off. That first over is done. 6 on the board for the home side, but the loss of Battleman's second ball. Yeah, I was talking to Graham Gooch in between innings there, Dan, and just saying the control of the scoreboard is so critical. Yes, you need to maximise your power play. Yes, of course you do. But then controlling the scoreboard afterwards, and that's what you saw with Lawrence and Neesham yesterday. The power play wasn't that expansive, but they were able to keep the runs just ticking over, so that Essex were in a good position by the second over to go, much as it suddenly turned to before the end.
Yeah.
Joe Denley. Wheater using his feet.
For one run, but until the 19th over yesterday, Essex looked completely in control, or 18th over,
18th, yeah.
They looked completely in control, and then it just, spiraled.
But that's when the pressure really kicks in, isn't it? But you need to be in that position when you get to 17, 18, 19, whatever it may be.
Yep. Ooh, leading edge.
Denley and Lawrence. Competitors, of course, as they were for the England midfield spot.
Yeah.
Denley, I think, batted at 3, did he?
Yes, he did, yeah.
Didn't have a particularly good series last year. Lawrence gets himself into great position. We saw it a bit from some of the Kent batsmen, Daniel Bell-Drummond in particular, using the depth of the crease, pulling himself back so he could then pull through the leg side.
That one stayed a little bit low, and he watched it all the way onto the bat, didn't he? And worked it through sort of wide mid-on.
Gets out onto the drive, brings that right hand through. It's a peculiar shot to Dan Lawrence. I don't think I've seen many players play it. Almost smothering the ball as the blade comes through. That's a more authentic off drive.
One run down to deep long. It's interesting what you're saying there, and you wonder if it's Graham Thorpe's influence as England batting coach, because Dominic Sibley is very bottom hand heavy, isn't he? And he's a man who likes to score on one side of, or favours one side of the wicket over the other.
Yeah, I don't think Lawrence favours leg side because of it, but when he plays through the covers, it has a... Oh, Wheater's gone. Essex have lost both openers now inside the first 2 overs. Wheater looking to put it through the leg side. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, just missing that. And Joe Denley. Well,
pleading with the umpire there, isn't he? He's on his knees pleading for that decision, and the umpire answers his wishes nicely. But that looks rather adjacent to me, and Wheater's on his way.
Yeah, not too much doubt about that. The end of Denley's over. So in 12 balls, both of Essex openers are back in the hutch.
Incoming batsman for the Essex Eagles, number 19, Michael Pepper.
This is a man that's on form, Michael Pepper.
Yep.
He's been keeping up momentum in that middle innings. He's averaging 25 in the campaign, but the last 5 he's averaged 33, and you can just see him building and building in confidence and in style to a certain extent.
Yeah, he's a clean hitter of the ball, and it would be a great way to celebrate his birthday with 60 or 70 tonight, wouldn't it, to see the guys home.
Matt Milnes is going to stay in the attack. Lawrence puts it straight down leg side. Pepper very quick to follow through to get the single.
The 23 should be quick though, shouldn't he, Simon? He should be,
well, quicker than you or me, even on roller skates, I would suggest.
Well, it was my birthday this Wednesday, his today, and he's just a tad quicker than me. Just a little bit, yeah.
I won't ask how old, don't worry. I just hope you could celebrate in style. Well, you couldn't last night, obviously.
No, I was commiserating. I was crying into my beer.
Nobody likes diluted beer. Mounts to Michael Pepper, first ball.
I think the ball's sticking in the pitch a little bit, isn't it? And I wonder if it's sort of later at night. Does the ball tend to stick in the pitch here a little bit?
It has. The reason I'm hesitating is because they're not playing on the hybrid pitch.
Yeah.
and it seems to have come through quicker from what we saw in the Kent innings. And I'm wondering whether the dew will start to set in. What time are we now? 8:30, 25 to 9.
Yeah.
In the next half an hour or so, you would expect it to start rising. That's going to be a 2. Oh no, it's not. And that's an interesting call, because this is where the experience of Dan Lawrence is coming through.
Yep.
Just a cool head. Yes, we're in the power play, but we would just work our way through it. 14 for 2 in the third innings is not ideal score, but we would just play our way out of it.
Yep, yep. So when the dew comes down, it will skid onto the bat a little bit more? Yeah.
You would expect it to.
Yep.
And it would certainly make fielding a little more difficult as well, you would think.
Only catching with clean pickups in the outfield as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, caught and bowled. Unlucky from Matt Milnes, made a great attempt there. That could be a big moment. Zach Crawley in the Spitfires innings had 2 lives that he nearly capitalised on. There's a life for Dan Lawrence.
In T20 cricket, a lot of players like to go downtown, as the Australians call it, don't they? And it does offer a lot of caught and bowl chances. Milnes comes in to Pepper, and
that's different.
Does that come off the toe end of the bat? I think there's a little bit of chalk needed for the end of the cue.
I think mistimed with the capital M. Daniel Bell Drummond is laughing because it was so mistimed. I think Michael Pepper's putting more chalk on the end of that cue. Just see the adjusting the field now.
Ali Carter, famous snooker player from Essex, wasn't he? Is he a Essex lad?
Apparently, yes.
Yeah.
My knowledge of stickers is not all it might be. Oh, Pepper is done in the flight again, and this one's going to go. Denley had time to write a few cards before that one came down, and Essex have lost their 3rd wicket inside the 3rd over.
That was very well bowled. Slower ball by the look of it.
Yep.
Yeah, just rolled his fingers over it and kept the pace off it, and a simple catch there to Joe Denley at extra cover. Pepper didn't sort of quite get the timing of the pitch, did he?
No, seemed to be struggling with the pace of it, and young Michael Pepper is going to have an unhappy birthday, certainly for right now. Neesham strides purposefully out to the track, and once again Lawrence and Neesham are going to have to repair things for the Eagles.
Big partnership this for Essex. Big partnership with Essex needing a repair job in the next few overs, as well as sort of trying to maximise the power play as well. And it's a big ask for them.
I would suggest that they'll ignore the power play now, just to make sure.
Change of bowling on the river end for the Kent Spitfires, number 18, Fred Clarkson.
Every over so far for the Eagles. Lawrence is going to face Fred Clarkson for the first time. Fred Clarkson comes into the attack for the first time.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. Fred Clarkson, he was born in Haywards Heath of all places.
Yep. West Sussex.
Yeah.
Or East Sussex, is it? I can never remember which. Oh, Lawrence goes hard and gets a full ball off the outside edge. Earlier this month, Klassen was playing for the Netherlands with a certain Shane Snater of this parish.
Okay, yeah. Clarkson's a real journeyman. He played a little bit of club cricket in New Zealand, then he went to Australia and he played club cricket here in the East Anglia Premier League for Norwich, and then, of all places, for East Kilbride in Scotland. So
that's different.
He's travelled around a little bit.
He was a schoolmate of Matt Quinn. Of course, Matt Quinn not allowed to play in this game for Kent, but very popular amongst the Essex fans. But in New Zealand, apparently they were in the same school, same year group.
And Quinn signed permanently for Kent now, hasn't he? He had a loan spell which went rather well, and he signed permanently. Is that right?
Yeah, he's here on the ground. I've seen him this evening,
Okay.
but not allowed to play.
That's worked nicely just for a single. No risk shot. Clarkson gets a little bit of bounce there, doesn't he? Gets a little bit of...
Well, he's a tall man, 6'4". He's got quite a high action, isn't he?
Yeah.
Neesham, the left-hander, up against the left arm fast, and Daniel Bell-Drummond is just going to move the offside field around. He's going to put a man back on the third man boundary. Leaning coming down here in front of us.
Oh, that's beautifully worked.
Well controlled flick off the hips from Neesham to get his score underway.
That's a nice first ball, isn't it? On the hip and just turned away. Up the hill, 4 runs. Happy days. So these two sides played each other back in 1985 tomorrow, and it's a 3-day game. As Clarkson comes in.
Oh, he's gone. Neesham has just prodded at that one, and the 4th Essex wicket is down in the 4th over. And at this rate, we're going to be done in 10 overs because the Eagles keep losing a wicket every over. Neesham have got off to such a confident start with that 4 off the hips, but a tentative prod to Clarkson.
Yeah, and Clarkson's been in the wickets in T20 cricket, hasn't he? He's got 9 this year. It's 16.55, and economy rate there is 7.84, and he looks a very, very interesting customer. Matt Milne's been their leading wicket taker with 11. Fred Clarkson with 10.
Number 27, Ryan Tenderscarter.
Well, cometh the hour, cometh the man. Tenderscarter's been here before on many an occasion. Suddenly, with a run rate of, what, 9 and over, well, you'd think that wouldn't be too much of a problem if they get in. But 24 for 4 is not a scoreboard that Eagles fans will have been hoping for.
They need an innings like yesterday, 13 years ago. Graham Napier's world record 152 against the Sussex Sharks here at Chelmsford.
Yep.
Which was on the 24th of June 2008. And Essex could do with something extremely similar tonight.
I would suggest that was quite a unique innings. He says carefully. Clarkson into former Netherlands international, of course.
Yeah.
And that's a good start for Fred Clarkson, 1 for 9 off it.
Yeah, so these two played each other back in 1985 in a drawn game here, which is a little bit rain ruined, and I see the ground staff are out there on top of the covers now. Is there a little bit of rain in the air, do you think, Simon?
Well, again, I look at the clouds. I mean, they're getting a little bit darker, but then it is kind of night time or heading towards it. I'm not seeing it at the moment. I think they'll be on it as soon as there is a couple of drops, but that's where, well, they're staying in the dry as ever. Essex ground staff do such a fine job under Stu Kerrison. Yes. Lawrence.
Milne's into his 3rd over here. He's 2 for 9 now of 2.1.
Bill Drummond obviously happy with the way that his opening bowler has worked.
Look, they're trying to get the overs in. They're rushing around the field. Milne's running back to his mark as well. And they're really trying to get these overs in before the cut-off point.
The DLS score at 56, so the Eagles well behind that.
It's 5 overs the cut-off point, isn't it? That constitutes a game, is that correct?
Yeah.
So just 4 balls to go to that point, and then all of a sudden the Duckworth-Lewis actually kicks in, and Ken very keen to get these next few balls in before the rain comes down.
Descartes again, just about getting forward. Had that duck last night, of course, couldn't help the cause.
Yeah.
Part of the 5-card trick that disappeared for the Eagles before Simon Harmer performed his get-out-of-jail trick with the final ball. Dan Lawrence, 18 off 12, came in on the third ball.
That's a tricky. Ooh, I think that was out if that hit. It was very close, very close. Just worked back with a point there to, looks like Jack leaning there and through the stumps. Didn't miss by much, judging by the exacerbated look.
Towels being brought out. I'm looking to see what the problem is. The umpires have flagged up. Rob Bailey's looking a bit perplexed.
A little bit of...
Well, did it hit? I think it hit Ryan Tendescarter on the helmet, therefore they have to check it.
Okay.
I think that's the cause.
Concussion impact. Kent would be fuming if the rain came down now, though, wouldn't they? But there's nothing they can do about it.
No, and as I say, I can't see behind us, so I can't see what's coming from that point of view. All I can see is out in front, the clouds are fairly high, albeit there is no wind, so nothing seems to be moving particularly.
Yep. The ground staff are staying in positions under the scoreboard over there next to the covers, so they've got all these radars.
That's what they're looking at. That's what we can't see from our Erie, and that's why Kent are really trying to get through things as quickly as possible, because they want to make sure that they're in position if there is to be a downfall. Tendescarter, firm, solid stroke through wide mid-on.
That's beautifully worked there. That's up the hill there, isn't it? It looks up the hill from here. Is that a trick of the eyes to see?
Yeah, no, it is marginally. I don't think it's Yeovil football, but
or Underhill, my football club, Barnet. He used to play at Underhill, which had a huge slope on it as well.
So Tendescarter gets his first boundary. Last ball for Milnes. Rob Bailey not interested. So 7 off that Matt Milnes over. His third, 2 for 15 the scoreboard reads now.
And that now constitutes a game. 5 overs gone. And the Duckworth-Lewis score is 60, isn't it? So Dan Lawrence is the man. He's the key to this innings. 19 not out at the moment off 13 balls.
Klassen stays on.
Rangy left armour, isn't he, Klassen? And
beginning of the month, he took 3 for 23 for the Netherlands against Ireland in Utrecht, including the likes of Paul Sterling and Kevin O'Brien in those 3 wickets. Now, what's happening now?
The umpire's having a little bit of a conflab here, and I wonder if there's some lightning in the air, which they take the players off straight away, don't they? If there's lightning around, due to, you know, the player's safety is paramount to the umpire. And here come the covers, and it looks like it might be 1 ball too late for Essex if this lot hits from behind us.
Well, the DLS score is 59, so the Eagles a long way off that. All players and umpires just in conference on the square.
Oh, I think that was lightning. There's a little bit of barracking there from the crowd, but I don't think they...
I don't think they've seen what's going on behind.
Indeed.
As we can't.
They also don't have a pair of electrical headphones on, do they? So
no, he says nervously.
And the flat sheet's coming on as well, which is always a sign that we're in for the long haul, or the covers are in for the long haul. So Yeah, they're doing the whole bowler's run up, which is not an encouraging sign here.
No, it certainly isn't.
No.
Players heading slowly off because right now there is nothing going on. But Essex Eagles at 31 for 4 behind the 8 ball as the players leave the pitch for what we hope is a temporary exit. We'll come back to you after this ad break with a bit more news. Welcome back to the Cloudfm County Ground, where, as you can see, we've got some fairly heavy weather that's casting its shadow over Chelmsford right now, and a bit of lightning, which is why the umpires have taken the players off the pitch. And we're waiting to see how long that's going to be. We've just gone past the 5 over mark, so theoretically the game has been played. I'm Simon Ward, alongside me Dan Whiting. Dan, what's your take on what we've seen in the Eagles innings? Because at 31 for 4, there's only one team in it, right?
They're definitely, I think, Kent have been very impressive, actually. They've had a very fast start batting and bowling. I mean, they got off to 81, or was it 89, before they lost Zach Crawley. Yeah, before they lost Zach Crawley earlier on. And they've had a very fast start with the ball. Matt Milne's been extremely impressive. 2 for 15 off 3, and you can see why they're at the top of the table, can't you? You can see why they look a well-drilled unit under Daniel Drummond, and they look a well-organised outfit.
Yeah, it certainly has been an impressive campaign thus far for the Spitfires, sitting in second as it sits, albeit that they're level on points with Gloucestershire at the top of the table. But the Spitfires, this is their extra game, if you will. Gloucestershire having played 8 and won 4 of them. There's 5 wins in the Spitfires' 7 games thus far. So therefore, you know, they've got to maximise this one to get themselves back top of the log.
Yeah. It's early days yet, though, isn't there? There's a long way to go in this, this campaign, and not everyone plays each other twice either. So it'll be interesting to see how the table pans out. And
as Eagles fans know from 2019, it's never over until it's over. So we shall wait and see. And of course, that was the mantra last night for the Essex Eagles, not wishing to put your pain back in place, Dan. But the events at Lord's were just quite fascinating to see how that one panned out. Let's take a look back at some of the highlights from Middlesex against the Essex Eagles last night.
Stevie Eskenazi struck his maiden T20 Blast 100, but cruelly ended up on the losing team as Essex took an extraordinary roller coaster of a T20 Blast match by 2 wickets at Lord's. Middlesex was soon making the most of being asked to bat first, with Eskenazi immediately looking in very good touch, even though he has had a disappointing run so far in this season's competition. On this occasion, he was using the middle of his bat to very good effect while placing his shots with perfection, as he was soon dominating proceedings with his new opening partner, Joe Cracknell, Paul Stirling having returned to Ireland. Eskenazi enjoyed being the senior partner, clearly, and by the end of the 6 overs of power play, he had already accrued 42 runs himself, made out of a highly lucrative score of 56 without loss. Cracknell had made 14 at this stage, but he now began to find his range, even though he was perhaps never at his fluent best. In truth, he didn't need to be, as he and Eskenazi put on 80 runs for the first wicket. Cracknell departed for 29, leg before on the sweep to a quicker ball from Aaron Nijar. Eskenazi had reached his 50 off 29 balls and was not about to let up now, as he was joined by new man Daryl Mitchell, the overseas replacement for Sterling. And the Kiwi showed his potential by smashing Paul Walter into the stand as his new team took the total to 138 for 1. The partnership for the second wicket eventually realised 64 runs, with Eskenazi into the 80s and at the highest score of his T20 career. Mitchell was out for 29 at the end of the 16th over, driving his fellow countryman Jimmy Neesham to Michael Pepper at long on. All eyes were now on Eskenazi to see if he could reach 3 figures. He moved closer by swatting Sam Cook into the seats. John Simpson went the longer route but also cleared the rope, the total moving to 174 for 2 with 1 over left and Eskenazi on strike with 98 runs to his name. He took a single off the first ball but had the strike back for the fourth. A top edge must have had his heart pounding, but the ball fell safe and he was back for 2 to the joy of everyone. His ton had come from 59 balls with 11 fours and 2 sixes. He ended on 102 out of his side's 183 for 2, a tough target for the Eagles to chase, but they started well as William Bottleman hit the second ball of the reply for 6. Adam Wheater then went after Blake Cullen as the visitors soon had 28 runs knocked off from 2 overs. Wheater then called for a 2, which was not on, and Bottleman was run out courtesy of Nick Gubbins' work in the field. Wheater would have wanted to put that behind him, but instead he was yorked in the next over by Stephen Finn. Essex up against it after securing a score of 57 for 2 from their power play. That became 90 for 2 at the halfway stage of the chase, Pepper starting to look that he really fancied the task at hand. He and Dan Lawrence did well to keep their side near enough the rate required as they added 67 for the third wicket in 8 overs. 67 more were wanted from 7 overs after Pepper skied a return catch to Green, the batsman on his way for 43, made from 32 balls. Lawrence was now joined by Neesham, the game in the balance with the target taken down to 49 of 5. Lawrence was timing his innings perfectly. His second maximum carried him to his 50, one which had occupied 31 balls and kept his side right in the hunt for a second successive victory. And when Neesham struck the last ball of the 18th over for 6, there appeared now to be only one winner. The Eagles soaring to a score of 168 for 3, but hold on. On 59, Lawrence somehow sent the ball down to third man, where Cullen held on expertly. 3 balls later, Neesham was also on his way back to the hutch, tucked up by Tom Helm, who returning to the side had delivered a crucial over at a crucial time. Essex now needing 9 runs from the final over. Mitchell was given the responsibility of bowling it, and with his first ball he removed Walter, who picked out Green in the deep, the fielder holding on well under pressure. Next ball, Ryan Tenduscarter had a swing and nicked to Simpson behind. 2 in 2, and now Essex needed 9 off 4 balls, and the game had remarkably swung back Middlesex's way. The third ball, though, went for 4, and the fourth saw Nija brilliantly caught by Nathan Souter. His reaction showed everyone what that wicket meant. Middlesex back on top again, with 5 now needed off 2. That became 4 off the final ball, and unbelievably, Simon Harmer, trying to turn to leg, got a thick outside edge. The ball then just evading short third man and running agonisingly to the rope. Having lost 5 wickets in the space of 9 balls, Essex had still got over the line just. A last ball win by 2 wickets ending a quite extraordinary match, a result which leaves Middlesex at the bottom of the South Group, with the Eagles moving up the table to the edge of the qualifying spots.
Well, that's what we've got at the Cloudfm County Ground now. The tap has been turned on, as has the thunder and lightning, which we've had over the last 10 minutes or so. The ground staff did well to get out there as quickly as they did and put those covers down. But whether we're going to see any more play, I'm really not sure, because if there's lightning in the area and with very little breeze around, it's not going to blow through that quickly. I'm Simon Ward, alongside me Dan Whiting, cricket journalist and podcaster. Dan, when you've got conditions like this, and we've got some very black clouds, as you can see, in the area, it's very difficult for the umpires to make the right call at the right time.
Definitely, the safety of the players is paramount, isn't it? The safety of the players is paramount, isn't it? And that is hugely important. And the umpires have got a care of duty to the players. And just as we see that, we see a lady there holding a metal umbrella, which...
Madam?
Yes.
I hope she's got rubber boots on.
Yes.
It's an invidious task, and one thing the Vitality Blast has been known for is getting finishes wherever possible, and sometimes in the rain. I mean, I go back long enough to think Lancashire against somebody in one of the knockout cups, I think it may have been the Gillette at that time, when they finished in almost pitch black at Old Trafford. I can't think who they were playing. It was Jack Bond and Jack Simmons and all that time. Can you remember who that was?
They were playing Gloucestershire, and David Hughes had a little knock there at the end, didn't he?
That's
and
right.
it was a famous quote from the umpire, Arthur Jepson, when Lancashire actually wanted to come off. And he said, "Well, I can see the moon. How much further do you want me to say?"
Yeah, well, I'm not sure we can see the moon here. The floodlights will have to make do for now.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a famous one from the 70s. It's one of those sort of, sort of TV epics from the 1970s, isn't it? Along with like Mike Proctor's hat trick against Hampshire and things that stick in the mind. And it's one of those special games.
And of course, when you see things on the screen, it always looks actually better than it does in reality, because of the adjusters that the cameras make to the light.
Yeah.
It's not looking good at the moment. It's not the end, I would suggest, but it's kind of we're right in a state of flux, should we say. It was interesting. Yesterday marked 13 years since we had one of the most memorable cricket matches in Essex history. It was the 24th of June 2008 when a certain G. Napier stepped out to bat against Sussex Sharks. Now, there'll be many Essex fans who will to this day say, "I know where I was when Graham Napier hit 152. Can you remember the reaction that you saw when you saw what that score was?
Well, no, I can't actually. I can't. But then, I'm a Middlesex man, so it's a different time. But Essex have got Sussex, haven't they, in a few weeks, and that will recreate that day. And,
be interesting to see. Let's take a look now as we wind our memories back to Graham Napier's 152 world record against Sussex Sharks here at Chelmsford.
That night was special.
It was groundbreaking for the town.
And don't forget that game and remember it as clearly as if it was yesterday.
It's another six. I can call it as soon as you see the swing of the bat. Take a bow, Graham Napier. Fantastic batting.
The way he was playing that day, it was just absolute brutal.
Absolutely brilliant. Stunning performance from Graham Napier. He finishes 152 not out.
I didn't ever set out to hit an innings like that, didn't even probably think it was capable of doing it. But then when things just kept happening and the ball kept disappearing, going into that game, it was sort of almost a blank canvas just to go out there and have fun and express myself.
It was a special night. It'll go down in history as one of the great nights at Chelmsford.
You always felt he was a magic man who could stir something up, and he was that enigma that you could turn to, and invariably he made something happen.
I remember watching him bat to begin with. I thought, maybe today might be his day, and ultimately it was.
There's always nerves going into an innings. If there isn't nerves, you're worried. I remember specifically just going out there and facing quite a few balls really before I got going. Had quite a slow start. I think I only had about 10 runs off about 8 balls or something like that, and I hit one shot and suddenly everything clicked into place and the runs started flowing.
Where's this going? Oh, that's going for more. 6 more. He can do no wrong.
It set the place alight. It set the tone for Essex County Cricket Club in T20.
The crowd were going berserk. They'd never seen anything quite like it.
And then all of a sudden there was a buzz in the air. We all started looking and watching what was happening.
He wasn't just pushing them over the line, they were clearing it by 40, 50 feet.
Every ball seemed to be coming off the middle of his bat and disappearing into the nearby Hayes Close.
I remember a lot of balls going over into those houses behind me, and I think a few went over the stand into the river, and at one point there we were struggling for spare balls.
The thing in the scorebox at that time was a little side bet on where the next 6 was going to go, because it wasn't a question of if he'd get another 6, but where it would go.
Oh my Lord, watch out. Just Tuesday evening, you're in your garden, having a quiet glass or something, and that comes over.
60-odd-year-old man climbing a fence to retrieve a ball. Man's a box of fox. It's a bumble.
Do it now. There we go. That's the record for number of 6s in a 2020 innings. 10 of them.
I had absolutely no idea at that point. I was just having fun. Tendo came out and he mentioned something about a record, and it just went straight over my head because I had no idea what he was going on about.
It was a very different game to now. You know, scores of 200 were unheard of. For someone to get a 100 and a big 100 like Napes did, it was, you know, groundbreaking for the time.
Par score would have been about 180, so to sort of then get going and keep going was just one of those moments you get as a team where you think, wow, this is brilliant.
It was quite funny because I was on the Sky, I had the earpiece on, and Napes had just come in and they said to me, oh, you know, what do you reckon?
150, 140 would be nice.
We'll see.
Or 6.
I mean, I thought at the halfway point, I thought they might get 150. Yeah, over 200 was far too many.
Ronnie Irani. What a brilliant innings. Napier punches the air.
It's one of those moments you sort of don't know what's going on. You're in such a daze. People are all coming up and sort of slapping you on the back, congratulating you. It was a strange, surreal moment in terms of cricket, but you know, at the end of the evening, it was sort of trying to keep perspective on everything and sort of not get carried away.
When I was coach of Essex, I did say to him once that I want you to go in there and keep every ball on the ground, okay? See if you can keep every ball on the ground. Well, he got off the mark with a 6. So I thought I'd stop my intervention then and let him play the way that he played best.
There's quite a few people who say don't think, Graham, because it doesn't help. See ball, hit ball, very simple philosophy, and it worked that night.
There was no one better, really, to be out there writing the history books.
People talk about Essex, the name of Graham Napier still crops up even today.
I mean, Napes always had that magic touch, didn't he, with the ball, with the bat. He used to do exceptional things.
In terms of my cricket, it did relaunch my career to an extent and gave me that self-belief that wasn't necessarily lacking, but just the belief that you can do these things, you can have innings like this, you can bat like that and be successful. That one behind me, I'll never forget that night, and don't want to. That was one of those moments that was very special to me.
Well, special memories of a very special day. And Dan, do you know what? It doesn't matter who you were supporting, who your colours are. When you see an innings like that and you saw the reaction from umpires, opposition, everybody, it's one of those, I was there or I wish I'd been there, because that 152 just was outstanding. I'm sure that the house values in Hayes Close went down overnight, but you know, you see Graham Napier performing like that, it just was incredible.
Well, he was always a man who kept the local glaziers in business, didn't he? And yeah, he was a hard-hitting batsman, could bowl a little bit as well, wasn't he? He's a good all-round cricketer.
Oh yeah,
good all-round
just
cricketer.
got on the fringe of England, of the Lions and all sorts of things like that. But yeah, he was a great guy for Essex, very popular. Every time he comes back here to the Cloudfm County Ground, the fans want to chat with him. The players know who he is. He's established his mark. in Essex cricket.
He's a gent as well, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I saw him. I saw him down at Beckenham. Actually, there was a combined Kent and Essex Tekken 11 game against, I think, England under-19s, and they had England under-19s were quite strong. Had the likes of Billy Godalman that side, Mark Stoneman, Rory Hamilton Brown, people like that, and he was very polite to the tea lady, and you know, he was an absolute charmer.
Yeah, a very important part of the Essex family as the Kent boys taking shelter, should we say. There's Matt Quinn at the back, a new Kent boy, an old Essex boy. And Mr. Stevens, I'm not going to call him anything because I'll call it wrong, but great to see him still on the cricket paddock doing some wonderful things with the bat. We haven't seen him with the ball on. Maybe we won't today, but as I say, a cult hero amongst Kent fans, and they were the ones that jumped up and down when Kent said they weren't going to renew his contract. And what did he hit, 220 something, and took wickets and said, this is what I'm about, and Kent had to come up with a new contract.
He's the Benjamin Button of county cricket, isn't he? He just gets better as he gets older, doesn't he? And he's been a fantastic cricketer for years, but since he was sort of like 43, 44, 45, he's got better and better, and they've given him another year's deal, which I think he signed, is it today or yesterday? And it will keep him in the county game till he's 46. Can he go on till he's 50? Can he do like a Wally Hammond or someone like that?
You wouldn't want to bet against him, would you? As long as he's keeping fit and able and playing cricket like we've already seen today, yeah, you would hope that he is he's going to stay part of the Kent group for some while to come. Well, we talked about Graham Napier being an important part of the Essex family. This year also is an anniversary for one of our club partners, a very important partner, important sponsor, Woodland, who have been now with Essex for 10 years. Here's a documentary about their time with the Eagles and with Essex.
Oh, big appeal, and there it is! Napier does the hat-trick! Jules gone first. And that is a century for Alistair Cook, and a beautifully played one. Whoa! Well, there's 6 of them.
Yeah, that 4 wickets in 4 balls. The 4 wickets in 4 balls, I think, against Surrey. It's such a rare feat, and I do remember the evening vividly. You know, you wanted him to get the hat-trick so badly, and then he goes on to get the 4th wicket on the 4th ball. And, you know, to me, those memories epitomise what playing here is about, that excitement.
There was a lot of anticipation of having Ricky Ponting at the club. And I think there were some fans, Essex fans, looking forward to watching him bat, but for Napes to get him out first ball or early on was very good for us and maybe slightly disappointing for some of the fans. Obviously hosting England just before an Ashes series, you know, was a huge honour, and it was strange obviously for Cookie, who was captain at the time, to come back to Chelmsford to play against Essex. So I think for ourselves and Woodland, that will always be, you know, a big game in that 10-year period.
The chance to test yourself at that level, you know, often those games don't have the same intensity, but you are getting a chance to face some of the best bowlers in the world. You know, you are getting the chance to bowl to some of the best batters.
Meat and drink to Alistair Cook.
Distinctly very good campaign for Cookie himself.
One of the highest scores here at Chelmsford.
I think we got 300 and something first innings. And then Samit Patel and Mulaney played a actually brilliant innings. Everything that had gone on through the start of the summer with the pandemic and etc. It was, you know, it was very challenging times for everyone, and not just at Essex but in the community and country as a whole. So I think for us to be able to respond and bounce back and win a trophy, even though we obviously don't have supporters in or they couldn't be present, you know, I think it added to you know, some feel-good factor.
When we first came to Chelmsford, we moved from further north of Essex. We kind of wanted to get involved with the local community. We've got heavy interest in sport generally.
You know, we've been blessed at Essex to have some fantastic sponsors, but I think, you know, the one that stands out for me is Woodland.
And Woodlands is probably the one that stands out the most. I think over a relatively long period of time, they've been the most consistent sponsors, and, you know, they really show the enthusiasm and the passion for the club.
It feels like they've been a part of my entire sort of career at the club. There's always been a Woodland logo, there's always been some Woodland presence.
You know, from Essex and maybe the sport in general, but certainly what we've found with Essex is how the players do engage with us and with the fans in general.
Kevin and Sean are fantastic guys, all the team that ever come down here, join us after games and stuff. It's a really nice relationship.
And then we looked at the values of what you guys have here and Essex Cricket in general, with the community, what's going on, and that's kind of exactly what we wanted. So it was a really easy decision for us actually to tie up with Essex Cricket.
Sneaker single.
They get a single, they get more than a single, they've done enough. It's the Eagles.
I mean, you know, that to me was the pinnacle of being involved. But there's been so many good times.
So, such an important part of the Essex family, the Woodland Group, and thankful to say they are still with us. Unfortunately, the rain is still with us as well, and it has not got any lighter, as you can see from those pictures. It's, well, I'm not sure whether, well, it looks like the thunder and lightning may have passed through, but the rain certainly hasn't. And, yeah, we shall keep you updated with that, but it's not looking hopeful at the moment. But I am delighted to say I have got a chance to chat with one of my favourite Essex spinners of all time, and the club president, Mr. David Ackfield, has joined me. We've dragged you down from hospitality, no doubt, Mr. Ackfield, but David, it's really, really good to see you here. When you see the way the Eagles have moved on, and you know, we can look back at the last 2 or 3 years initially, the way that they're moving now with the youngsters coming through, you must be mighty proud of what you and the rest of the committee have established now.
I think it's part of the tradition, isn't it? We've always been very proud of the fact that we produce our own players. And we've done that all the time. Of course, we've gone and bought players at the right time. You can't always produce your own players. You're always going to find a wicket-keeper. You look back in the great days when I played, when we were winning things and we were buying, say, people like Neil Smith, a wicket-keeper, or Brian Hardy from Yorkshire, or you know, whatever. But generally, our aim must always be to produce our own players. And where we haven't got someone, we'll try and fit in somebody else at the right time. And that's been the tradition of Essex, and long may it continue. It will while I'm around, which may not be much longer, but I'll keep trying.
I'm sure.
Who knows?
I'm sure you've still got
a few
more overs in that right arm.
Yeah, I'll keep saying a few things at the wrong time, probably. Don't worry. Yeah.
Talking wicket keepers, can you remember when a team, let alone Essex, have had 3 wicket keepers in the top 4?
No.
Neil Smith, I seem to remember, opened the batting occasionally.
Yes, I can go back. I'm going back a very long time now. You can think of Brian Taylor and Lee Irvine.
Yeah.
Lee Irvine
Did Tonker open the batting?
He opened the batting in one-day cricket quite regularly, actually.
I've forgotten that then.
Whether Lee, I think, probably batted about 3 or 4. I'm going back to 1969 now, so the memory is failing dismally, as you'd
There will
expect.
be people going, I remember that.
I'm sure that, even if
now.
I can't. But so, yes, you know, we had Brian Taylor, we had Rodney Cass, of course, keeping at the same time.
Okay, yeah.
So we have had a number of keepers in the side. Whether they were all opening or whatever they were doing is a different matter. But we have
to see
keepers.
these talented youngsters, you look at the Peppers, the Buttlemans, Wheater as well, of course.
Yeah,
to be able to be double skilled like that and to provide the quality batting that they are now beginning to show at the top level.
Very useful. I think it was Duncan Fletcher who used to talk, you have to be a 3-dimensional cricketer now. You can't be a 1-dimensional cricketer. And these players are 2-dimensional, you know, if not 3. They're able to field, they're able to bat, they're able to keep wicket. And they've done extremely well, and it's good to see them coming into the side. And you know, they've done well. We haven't done quite so well in the T20, but I think I've always felt that T20 is a little bit of a lottery. I know that's a cop-out. Everyone will tell you that's a cop-out. You've got to win everything, but
it's a roller coaster, isn't it?
But it is a roller coaster, and we've seen some very good performance from our younger players. And we've seen some average performance from the team, which everybody admits, but that's what happens. And but we do need, you know, we do need to concentrate, I think, a little bit more on the ability to to pace the game, if you know what I mean. I'm just getting the impression, and I've watched a lot of cricket here, and now, of course, with the live streaming, I'm watching it all. I'm watching every ball. Yeah, I think there's, there's things to learn, but, they're young. And I do think that T20 is a young man's game. You don't want to go in there with fear, as I used to, I assure you. So
you didn't fancy it.
Well, perhaps
you used to play 40 over, of course.
Well, perhaps when I was younger I would, but I think as you get older you get more fearful. I mean, people talk about experience a lot. It depends how the experience works. Some people like experience and they grow into it and they use that experience. Other people, that experience can be a bad experience and it gets worse. So I do think that one day cricket in general is very much a young man's game now, and go out and do it and just enjoy it.
I think we have to realise the expectation that has increased over the last 3-4 years maybe, certainly with the success in the longer form, and then in many ways the unexpected success of 2019. And you have to, I think fans, and I look at some of the social media posts and it's very reactionary, which I understand, I get that. You see a bad performance, you want to voice your opinion. Absolutely right. But I think there is that curve where you have to go, right, we've had the high of 2019, maybe we've got to accept a little bit less now as we rebuild and go again. All teams do it. It's part of it, surely.
There is no God-given right to keep winning at all, and there never has been. And certainly the whole of Essex cricket changed in 1979 when we actually won something.
Yeah.
Whereas the members used to write in and say, it's great fun watching Essex. You never know what they're going to do, and it's great fun. From 1979 is why on earth aren't you winning? And it was a totally different.
The bar.
And it was a totally different thing, and we're finding it now because we've been so successful. Particularly, I think the 2019 was. I don't say an aberration, but it was almost a miracle because the results went other way.
It all fell into place.
It all fell into place. We played on a turning pitch. Simon did, I don't think at the moment we've got a great one. Oh, yeah, okay, we've got a very adequate one-day side. I'm not saying it's wrong. I think we've got a very, very good 4-day side. I think the bowling has carried us through in a big way over the years. I think our batting. It reminds me, I'm going back a day, God, I sound old now, don't I? But it goes back to the days of the old Yorkshire side, that if Yorkshire could get 200, then the other side wouldn't get 100.
Yeah.
And now I think over the last few years, we've done the same. We've got enough runs for our bowlers, our three seamers and Simon Harmer, to bowl sides out.
Yeah.
And we've done it extremely well. Then, of course, the expectation is there, and you're expected to do it all the time, and that doesn't happen. You will have bad days, you'll have bad matches, and it's very difficult to keep that level of performance going all of the time. And I'm afraid our members and our supporters just have to accept it. Again, that sounds like a cop-out. We're professional cricketers. We have to go and do it.
But bad days in the T20 are more catastrophic than a bad day in a 4-day match when you can recover.
You can recover. A bad day on a T20 is because it looks bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does. You end up at 10 for 4 or something. You're losing the game or whatever you're doing. There's no way back. That's the problem with T20 cricket. And that's what makes it so exciting. I mean, that's what makes it so fun, really. Yeah.
Right, I'm going to talk to you about spinner, but it's not Simon Harmer.
Okay.
Join us after this ad break. Welcome back to the Cloudfm County Ground, where the midsummer monsoon continues to actually soak the whole area now. It really has got heavier and heavier. While I'm here, though, I'm delighted to be joined by club president and club legendary off-spinner, Mr. David Ackfield. Talking off-spin, Ackers, and we always talk about Simon Harmer, and for understandable reasons. You talked about three-dimensional players. What do you make of Dan Lawrence's off-spinning? Because we know what we're seeing as a batsman. We've seen, 4 catches as a fielder. He's an outstanding fielder. What do you make of him as an off-spinner?
I make of him, at the moment, as a one-day off-spinner.
Okay.
I think he needs the field to be out there. I don't quite see him at the moment as bowling a side out on a turning wicket in a 4-day game. That's not that he couldn't do it. I just don't think he probably doesn't bowl enough in that sort of cricket, in that sort of environment. To bowl in that environment, what you've got to have is 4 men round the bat, and you've got to be incredibly accurate all the time. His action, as everyone will tell you, is not a classic action. And to have a classic action, basically, what you need to do is you keep your head still and you just keep it metronomically there. He would find that difficult. So I think that he spins it. I think if he practiced it more and more, and he had more opportunity. I mean, at the moment, really in a 4-day game, you don't give it to Dan Lawrence, you give it to Simon Harmer, don't you?
Sure.
Were he the main spinner, then maybe he would get better and better. But he doesn't have to do it at the moment.
But can a main spinner be the number 4 batsman or number 3 batsman?
Why not?
It's a big ask, isn't it?
It's a big ask, but I don't think it's a bigger ask as asking an opening batsman to be a wicketkeeper.
No,
I don't see it. I think, and actually, I mean, to be in the game. One thing is to be in the game all of the time if you can, and if you can bat and bowl. I looked at, you look at I'm going back in history. I'm looking at Ray Illingworth and people like that who was always in the game, batting number 6 or 7 for England, getting runs when it mattered, then bowling people out. It's great fun if you can be in the game all of the time. And if one part fails, the other part comes good. It doesn't actually matter. When you're only a one-dimensional cricketer, really, as I was, you've only got one thing to go. And if that's not going very well, then you're in trouble.
Did that frustrate you?
It frustrated me in many ways, and I won't bore you with the whole history of my batting because it would take too long, wouldn't it, really? But it frustrated me that I didn't concentrate enough on my batting. I never pushed myself forward. It's a daft thing to say, but at school I used to bat number 4, basically, and there was a famous occasion when I got 80 against Kent in the second team, and gradually the game changed, basically. The game changed because suddenly people like Sylvester Clarke and Malcolm Marshall knocked my head off at number 11, and that never happened. No. People like Fred Truman never actually bowled me a bouncer. I mean, he just wouldn't do it. They did, and therefore it got more frightening. So my batting got worse. If you look through the things, I would have loved. I suppose looking back on my career, what I would have liked to have done is done a Simon Harmer, not as well as a bowler, obviously, but I would have liked to have batted number 8 and been a bowler, and done the off-spin as well. Number 11 off-spinner is very discardable, and that's what happened to me quite a lot.
Peter Such comes to mind.
Peter Such comes to mind. And it certainly happened to me. And of course, my great regrets has always been the one-day side. That I, even though I played in quarterfinals and semi-finals, I never played at Lords in a final. Rightly or wrongly, Keith always reckoned that Ray bowled left arm turning away, and he was better batsman, better fielder, etc. So I never quite made it. And so, looking back on my career, my regrets are that perhaps I should have been more forceful in saying I want to bat.
Yeah.
In my time, of course, all the batsmen had the nets, and then at the end they used to say, "Well, all right, we'll have. You might as well have a knock-out because at some. Well, thank you very much." And we found a couple of bowlers. Most of them had gone home, and it didn't really matter too much.
Was there a contest? You mentioned Raimondo.
Yeah, Raimondo.
And was there a contest with the bat between Robin Hobbs? Between the three of you?
No, not really. Robin,
jocular or otherwise?
Oh, there was a lot of jocular stuff going on. I mean, Robin was a fine striker of the ball, offside in particular. Ray was a good player basically. Could certainly bat 8 or 9 or something. No, the only time I really enjoyed batting was when I batted with J.K. Lever.
Oh, really?
Well, because number 10 and 11.
Yeah.
Because if you go in as number 11, as I did, I usually had a batsman at the other end. And if you look at the number of not outs I got, which I'm sure you have,
oh, of course.
I'll tell everybody that. I'll tell everybody that.
Yeah.
The number of not outs I got was simply because all I had to do was block, because there was Neil Smith, there was Keith Fletcher, even Graham. There was somebody at the other end.
Yeah.
So my job was simply to hold up an end and put on runs with Stuart Turner or whatever, if you look at it.
Yeah.
And so you don't get any runs. And you end up as a complete blocker, and you end up at 0 not out or 1 not out. I actually got... everyone laughs about it. I got sent a letter. I put on a few runs with Ken McEwen at Leicester one year. I think we put on about 80, of which he got 79 and I got 1. And I got sent a £5 note by a member for a brave 1. So that's the sum total of my excitement, really.
You mentioned Raymondo, and in many ways you were the spin twins of Essex in that sort of era.
Yeah.
You seem to be completely different sides of the spinner coin.
We were.
In terms of the double act, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have some wonderful memories of Ray East.
Well, we were very different. We weren't that different in character. I shared a room with him for 20 years. That's why I'm as mad as he is, I think. But Ray, because he turned the ball away from the back, was quite prepared to give it more air. I hated going for runs. I counted all my runs.
Really?
I counted
Miserly.
I hated going for runs. I wanted to bowl maidens. If someone would allow me to bowl a maiden, I was happy. I keep hearing some of these commentators saying, he won't mind that when someone's hit me. I used to hate it being hit out the ground. I tell you, all I wanted him to do was block. I was very peaceful. Ray was much more adventurous, but in fairness, he turned the ball away from the bat and there was more chance because they couldn't hit it. So yeah, we were different in that way, but we were very much the same. We both, I don't say lack confidence, but I think we used to sit up at night and say, does the captain really love me? This sort of thing occasionally.
I mean, he's an eccentric character, and he was a wonderful character. You must have some wonderful memories of some of that. What are the maddest things that he used to do?
Oh, I mean the one where we were playing Australia. Australia always, it was about 71, taking it very seriously. And we were playing at Ilford, and I remember a car backfiring, and Reyes was in his middle of a stride. And he just literally did a James Cagney down the pitch and fell in front of Dougie Walters, who didn't understand what the hell was going on at all.
I was there. I was there at Valentine's Park. I've still got all the signatures.
It was a brilliant James Cagney on the steps of whatever the film was. I can't remember, but it was. I mean, there's just so many of radar things he did. He was a very funny man at times.
He always seemed to have the crowd eating out the palm of his hand.
Yes, he
whoever
did.
They supported.
Yes, he did. He did. But he was a big everyone talks about Ray as a comedian. Ray was a very serious person, and certainly, late at night, Ray was very serious, and it did get to him quite often. The comedian bit was a cover for like all of us, I suppose. Really bowling spin is quite a nerve-wracking job, to be honest with you.
Well, you've got to have a lot of confidence to keep going.
And I'm not sure that either of us really ever had that much confidence. I mean, I watch some of the young players now, and they exude confidence. I don't think we were brought up to be confident. We were always brought up to be self-defacing, weren't we? It was the English way, I mean, the number of stories when an ambulance went along that road there, Nino, oh, Ackers is on again, you better clear the stands again. They said, this is Gooch and Fletcher,
that was your signing.
I mean, it was that sort of thing, know. I mean, there are other great stories where we were bowling at Hampshire and Richards and Greenwich, and I remember Gucci saying to Fletcher, why don't you put Ackers on? Put Ackers on and murder him. Yeah, but he might lose the ball, and we could get one that could swing for JK. So I became the lose the ball bowler.
Okay, the feed.
I was the seamer's sweater carrier at one stage, and the seamer's ball shiner, and this is what we had. The spinners had all the time.
You mentioned JK.
Yep.
JK and Keith Boyce together were a formidable.
They were.
Double act. What are your main memories of those two?
Well, they were, of course, very different. Keith Boyce was was just quick. I mean, he was quick and very, very
At everything.
good. Yeah, absolutely. A wonderful fielder. He should have got thousands of runs, but kept trying to sweep, and we kept telling, I mean, he actually wrote on his back, "Do not sweep," because why anybody? He could hit the ball out the ground. Why should he bother to sweep the twirl? I mean, why sweep?
Yeah.
But and JK was just a machine really. He just came in and bowled and swung it, and if you can bowl left arm and swing it. It was brilliant. I mean, it was perfect.
And when you're blonde and good looking, he was the rock star.
It does help,
Essex
doesn't
side,
it? It does help, yeah. But people forget, of course, in the great time, Boise Garner, it was a great shame that he wasn't a part of our championship side. But, you've got to remember Norbert Phillip did a good job. Yeah, Norbert. Very, very good job with Stuart Turner.
He was always follow Boyce. They were always looking for that Keith Boyce replacement, weren't they?
They were looking for it, but he got runs. He got runs for us. He got a lot of wickets. And that seam attack of Lever, Philip Turner was very good.
Stu Turner was always the forgotten hero in so many ways.
He just did everything, didn't he? Yeah. Did everything well, basically.
And quietly.
Very quietly. Got runs when it mattered. Got wickets when it mattered. Just did it. Did the job.
Yeah. Right, we're going to talk Tokyo in a minute after this ad break because I'm going to talk Olympics. Here we go.
All right.
Well, welcome back to the Cloudfm County Ground, where the pavilion is in the deep end, and Hayes Close is turning into the shallow end at the moment. The rain keeps pouring down from above, and I'm not sure that we honestly are going to see any more cricket this evening with the Kent Spitfires in the driving seat. 167 for 9 they amassed, but Essex Eagles 31 for 4 and 28 runs behind the DLS score. So we shall wait and see. I'm told that there may be a call being made in the next 5-10 minutes or so, but for now I'm delighted to be yarning with club president Mr. David Ackfield. Now, coming up next month, Ackers, is an event that we see every 4 years when Tokyo sets itself up for the Olympics. You, of course, were a double Olympian. What are your memories of your 2 Olympics?
Extraordinary, really. Mexico, of course, it was all about altitude. If people may not remember, but Mexico City is very high. So I had to spend 4 weeks acclimatizing before I could do anything, which basically meant lazing by a swimming pool, which was great fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Tough work.
It was a tough life. I spent 6 weeks out there. I fenced about 4 fights, and I watched every single athletics event, and I saw David Hemery win, and I saw I saw Lee Evans win the 400 meters. I saw every athletics event because the players had an enclosure right on the finishing line, and so it was a wonderful experience, really. 6 weeks in Mexico.
How did you do? This was fencing.
We were never going to have a chance. I mean, we were very much amateurs, basically. I mean, I come off a cricket field basically in 1968. Literally, I stopped playing in '68 after I remember I got a couple of wickets, I think, at Worcester somewhere. Oh, no, that was '72. And then I just stopped playing and trained for the Olympics and went out there. But, the Hungarians and the Russians were 8-hour-a-day professionals. I remember...
Even then?
Oh, gosh, yes. I mean, I was talking to one of them and they said, "Are you in training?" There's about 71 or something like that. I remember, no, I'm only doing 4 days a week. I was doing 1 day a month if I was lucky. I mean, we were in a different league, totally. and I was just very lucky. I don't think now in the modern selection system I'd be selected, but you were selected then if you were the best in the country, so you got selected and went to the Olympics. So I fenced in the team event and thoroughly enjoyed it. And then in 1972, I mean, they were interesting Olympics because the 68 one, there was a riot, Mexico riot, so there were tanks where we were training. They were threatening to move it to Los Angeles. And of course in Munich we had the Israeli affair. Where I can remember clearly sitting having lunch not 100 yards from where they were being held up by machine guns.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You were allowed to sit that close?
We were sitting there. No one really knew what was happening, and we went to bed and we were told that they'd all got out, and the next morning we found they'd all been shot. And that was quite an experience, really. And I did not actually stay because the whole Olympics was put back a day, and they carried on. I didn't stay for the closing ceremony. My flight was booked on that day and I got out of it, basically, and most people did because, you know, you've done one closing ceremony, they're very long anyway, and it was probably, and there were rumours that you know, we were in tower blocks, and at the time, if you think 1970s, Ireland, IRA, I mean, it was, yes, it was a strange, surreal experience because you didn't feel that involved until afterwards, and you suddenly realised how close you were. I mean, it was quite
sobering.
It was a sobering experience.
If you had the opportunity, if you had the choice to go again, but I said you only had one thing, one sport you could do, would you pick fencing or would you pick cricket?
Cricket.
With no hesitation.
I only took up fencing. I took up fencing because I enjoyed Sir Lancelot on the television, really.
Well, there's always a reason. There's always a stimulation,
or
isn't
Robin
it?
Hood,
Yeah.
Richard Green in Robin Hood and all that sort of stuff in the old days, in the 50s. And I took it up in the evenings. I used to play football. I was a scheming small right winger, but the ball always went route one, so I never touched it, basically. And so I played a lot of football in my time, but I began to win at fencing. So I just took up fencing, and that was another 6-7 day a week job, really. So I went from fencing 6 or 7 days a week to cricket 6 or 7 days a week, on and off for 6 years. And that was pretty tiring. And then, of course, I had the whole nonsense of not being allowed to be paid to actually play cricket because I had to be an amateur to do the fencing, although Robin Hobbs always said I got more in my brown envelope than he did, but that's not true at all.
How did he know?
Exactly. So, yes, it was just an interesting experience, really. I did 6 years of balancing cricket and things, and I don't think it helped either sport. I suppose if I'd been serious, I should have stopped after the first Olympics and really made a go at cricket, but I didn't, and I went on till 72, and then, of course, I'd done the Commonwealth Games in 70 as well. So I did 2 Olympics, Commonwealth Games, I did the lot, and then I retired.
It's a remarkable sporting
I did me bit.
CV.
I did me bit, really.
Well, on behalf of Essex fans, we're delighted that you stuck with Essex and everything you've done since you've retired as well. I know you've done plenty of hours in the committee rooms around the world, around this country, and the impact that you've had on Essex. On behalf of all the Essex fans, thank you very much. That's Club President David Ackfield. Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
Now, recently, the Essex women have selected their team for the 3-match one-day international series against India. I think it begins Bristol this weekend. One of the players is from the Sunrisers, and mentioning the Sunrisers, I'm told they've got a game against the Northern Diamonds on next Friday, 6:30 start here. This is a very interesting, I think she's another off-spinner, coincidentally. Segue, beautifully managed, of course, totally coincidental. Maddie Villiers making an impact for the Sunrisers and, of course, for her country. Let's find out a little bit more about Maddie Villiers.
I'm Maddie Villiers and I play cricket for Essex, and I'm back here today at my old primary school, hoping to inspire the next generation of budding cricketers. We've got some sessions planned for today, hoping to teach them some tips and tricks and see what skills they've got, and then we're doing a Q&A and assembly as well, so plenty of questions.
So tomorrow, I think Maddie is flying to Australia to play cricket internationals for England. So you'll probably see her on the TV, see her on the news. She used to go to this very school, which is really exciting.
that way. So like you're turning a doorknob the other way. So you open the doorknob that way, you've got to go that way. Let me give that a go. Underarm, nice and slow. That's it. So you want to bounce it in front of the wet floor sign and you want to hit the stumps. To be able to represent your country is a massive achievement, and yeah, I'm really proud to be able to say that I've done it in such a short, what seems like such a short space of time. It hasn't come without hardships, that's for sure, but I'm just making the most of every moment, and it's something that gives me a purpose and it gives me something to get better at. So yeah, I'm very proud to be able to say I do that. To be in the T20 squad is something that I'm buzzing for, and not just the cricket side as well, but also the other aspects that come with it, travelling and seeing some amazing places that I wouldn't be able to see if I didn't play cricket. To come back from that as world champions would be a dream, really. We don't like to look too far ahead and get a bit ahead of ourselves. We like to take every game as it comes, but with something as big as that, you can't not look into the future and the what ifs. But yeah, it will be a dream, really. When I was sat where you all were, I didn't dream to be where I am now. I didn't know that England cricket was a thing. I didn't even know cricket was a thing. I wanted to play football, not for Tottenham, but I did want to play football when I was sat where you are. So my dreams actually changed in the last 5 or 6 years. I loved every sport. I played football, basketball, you name it, I played it. And I fell in love with cricket when I was in year 7 and year 8. And I started playing club cricket for Bentley, just down the road. Bentley Cricket Club, and I played there for 3 or 4 years. And then I got into Essex when I was 15, and I started playing with 21-year-olds when I was 15, so it was a little bit scary, but I loved cricket, so I just wanted to play, and I wanted to play at a good level, and for me, that's where I started to really fall in love with the game.
But it's really exciting to think that actually somebody who was sitting here just like you and then went and played some sport and did lots of sport and then played cricket with Bentley just down the road is now playing for Essex but also for England. So it's possible that one day somebody sat here could do the same. So I think we need to give a big clap to both all of the people here.
It's great being back here. I love how excited the kids were today, and they've really picked up cricket quite quick, and yeah, a lot of enthusiasm. And I love doing stuff like this, coming back to places that I used to play and people that have impacted my career as well. So yeah, I love doing stuff like this.
So Maddie Villiers getting ready for that ODI series for this weekend and into next week. Next week, Friday 2nd of July, Sunrisers are here at the Cloudfm County Ground. Tickets now on sale for their game against the Northern Diamonds. Friday, 6:30 start, £10 adults, £5 juniors and teens. Well, as you can see, the weather has not stopped, the tap will not close, and the game has now been abandoned. It means the Eagles have lost this at 31 for 4. They were always behind the 8 ball in trying to get towards that Kent Spitfires score of 167 for 9. The DLS score was 59, so they were 28 runs short when the umpires rightly took them off. Thunder and lightning was in the area at that time, and then the heavens opened shortly after. But we still have one piece of officiating to do, so to speak, and that is to nominate the Woodland Group Eagle of the match. So Dan Whiting, my co-commentator this evening, has to make the nomination. Who, firstly, is in the frame, Dan?
Yeah, we've got four candidates in the frame, and we've got four candidates in the frame, and I thought, Kent got off to a flyer, and I thought they took a little bit of pace off the ball. Jimmy Neesham's in there with 2 for 11 off 2. But Dan Lawrence, 2 for 37 and 4 catches out in the deep. A couple of easy ones, but 2 were very, very good indeed. Aaron Nijjar, I thought, was very, very good. Variations of pace and flight, and I thought he was very, very good. 1 for 13 off his 4 overs. I thought he was fantastic. But my Woodland Group Eagle of the Match for his bowling and for his captaincy, where he actually took the pace off the ball and actually thought about it a little bit. And he got 4 for 26, and he's one of the stars here, and it has to go to your skipper, Simon Harmer.
Yep, not the first time and not the last time that the skipper gets the award, and deservedly so, absolutely right in what he's done. Great to have you alongside. I hope you've enjoyed yourself here at the Cloudfm County Ground.
It's been absolutely fantastic. What a lovely club. It's got a real feel of a club here. It's got a real feel of a community, and you see that the likes of David Ackfield we've had on tonight, and Graham Gooch, and past legends, and there's links to the past, there's links to the future with some of the youngsters you see out there, the likes of Aaron Nijjar, and it's just a wonderful feel, and you really feel like there's a sense of community and a feel of a proper cricket club here, and it's been fantastic, and hopefully you'll have me back on, Simon.
I'm sure we will. Hopefully it'll be after another Middlesex loss to the Eagles, but we shall have to work that one. Great to have you alongside, Dan. I'm Simon Ward. This is the end of the stream this evening, but join us next Tuesday. We've got Tuesday and Thursday matches, Somerset and Glamorgan. Hopefully we can get through these ones and get some results, but we shall see. From me, have a good weekend, and we'll see you all next week.